I go around and I go around and I go around, I go around. I'm always out, I am always out, I am always out, I'm always out. I keep running so I don't have to
Guys, believe it? We're back for season 6. So today I'm like just going very comfy cozy because it's like actually really cold today. Even though I'm filming this in like May, it's a cold day. So we're doing comfy cozy vibes, but yes, we're at season 6 of Vanderpump Rules. And this season, this is a long season. Like normally the notes that I have going into these videos, it's like 17 to 16 pages long. Now we have 23. So I don't know if I'm just like more used to this now. I jot down more, I pay more attention, or if more things happen. But this season was an absolute mess. And the way that it ends is absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. We have rumors, we have drama. It starts with a bang, it ends with a bang. So grab a snack, grab a drink, because this one is gonna be a long one. So while I'm finding my notes, I'm just gonna like talk a little bit about people who are new on the board. So we have Logan, who is James's friend. I think that we kind of talked about, I'm pretty sure we talked about Logan in season 5. I just never named him or put a picture, but yeah, that's Logan's friend. Also, I came prepared today. I have my little pens of points, so we are definitely learning from our mistakes. We have this guy over here. That's Patrick. That's Stassi's boyfriend, so they're next to each other. I also decided to put Jeremy because I feel like he is like starting to become a main character. He is working at Cerno. So we have a picture of Jeremy. Sheena has a new boyfriend, Rob, who we're gonna learn a lot about, so he's over here. And then I finally have my picture of Carter. I remember last time I just had like Carter written down, and yeah, we have a few people who have moved around because I really wanted to like give focus to the couples, put them together. So let's go right into episode 1, and we actually find out a little bit about Rob. So Sheena, well, okay, they've known each other for a long amount of time, I think like 10 years. They were dating, then she met Shay, she married Shay, and she's going back to Rob. So yes, it seems like she's moving like really fast, but they did know each other for a while, so I guess that kind of like explains it. And I think we ended season 5 talking about Tom. So Lisa and the Toms have a meeting, and basically Lisa says like, okay, this is not a go until you guys can pay up the money. So they agreed to pay her $50,000 to each have 5% of profits. Stassi's still having a little bit of problems with Patrick, so we actually have Katie who goes over to Stassi's, and Katie asks about it, and Stassi's like, you know, we're back together now. And I feel like something good is gonna happen this time. I feel like there's a change. I feel like we're gonna be good. So I was praying for the best for Stassi, but we're gonna see throughout the season, Patrick, he's a little bit sus. So Brittany and Jax actually moved into a new apartment, and they're neighbors with Tom and Kristen. Katie, not Kristen, Katie. Katie is actually having a little bit of a fight with Sheena, and Sheena decides not to invite Katie to her birthday party, but she allows Tom to come. And speaking about shorts, so Shorts, Sandoval, Lisa and Ken. I probably should have printed out a picture of Ken, but like whatever. They all go to Tom Woolley, the property that's going to be Tom, to have a little bit of a meeting. Sandoval, yes, I understand he really wants to be involved because this is like his project too, but he's asking a lot of questions. He's being very negative, and Lisa gets very annoyed, like very, very annoyed very fast. And she's like, shh, we're not doing this anymore. Not in like we're not just like working on this anymore. It's just like, stop talking. So we have our first huge rumor. So we have Tom and Ariana who are talking, and then Tom actually tells Ariana that he knows someone who knows Faith, and apparently Faith said that she slept with Jax. So Ari, obviously super close friends with Brittany, and she's like, Tom, you need to talk to Jax about it. You need to clarify whether it happened or not, how this rumor started, because if you don't say anything, I'm going to talk to Brett. So we actually jump right into Sheena's birthday party, and Sandoval goes to Jax, and he basically asks him like, hey, this is what I heard. Are these rumors true? So Faith is actually also invited to this birthday party. So while we have Jax in one corner who is like defending himself, saying it's nonsense and didn't happen, we have Faith in another corner. She's looking very sad, very down. So James goes up to her and he asks about her. He's like, hey, what's going on? Because you look like you really don't want to be here. And Faith tells him that Jax actually reached out to her, and he was like, oh, you know, I wanted to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. And Faith was like, okay, like, you know, you can come over if you want, because she basically I don't know if she works, I don't think it's a nurse, but she works in like a care home, I think it's called, and she lives with someone who's like 95 years old. So she was like, okay, it's fine if Jax comes over because like obviously nothing's gonna happen. So Faith is actually also telling James that Jax was saying like, you know, I wanted to see you for a while, you're so beautiful. We find out, well, Faith says that something happened, they did hook up, but she was not taking birth control. They weren't really safe about it. She thinks that she might be pregnant. So we're like, oh no, this is, because like, you know, we have like normal Vanderpump rumors that are like horrible. This like surpasses all of that. So obviously it's not gonna end without a confrontation. So Jax is getting mad because apparently Faith is lying that they hooked up. So Faith goes up to her and he's asking like, why are you spreading rumors? Like, why are you lying? Faith is like, I'm not lying. Britt tells like the whole gang that's there, if it's true, if Jax did hook up with her, she's done with LA, she's packing up and she's moving back to Kentucky. And that is how episode 1 ends. So episode 2, we have Stassi that goes to Sarah to talk with Lisa, and we find out that Stassi is kind of interested in, you know, planning events. Lisa obviously wants to test her before like, you know, taking her on as like her own, I wouldn't say personal event coordinator, but like, you know, planning her events. She's like, you know what, for a little like test run, you can plan Guillermo's birthday at Sir. So Britt is obviously like not feeling her best. Britt is like, I have to call my mom, and it's obviously not comfortable calling my mom because Jax, he wasn't really on thin ice, but he kind of was like with my family. Like my dad doesn't know, but I told my mom. She's obviously like disappointed about it, and she really doesn't feel good. So she's like, you know what, I have a childhood friend in Vegas. I'm gonna go stay with him. I'm gonna go see him for the weekend. And I'm single now, so I'll act like it. Katie's like, love that for you. You go, girl. And we're gonna see throughout this season, Red goes through so much. And then when we see what happens at the end, it's devastating, but it's also like a breath of fresh air. So while that conversation is happening, we have James and Raquel who go to Vanderpump, which is Lisa's like little dog, kind of like shelter, adoption place, whatever. Raquel basically wants a job, so she talks with Lisa, and Lisa's like, yes, you can have your job. And James is like, okay, you know, Lisa gave Raquel a job, so let me like test my luck. He asked her if he can get his job back at Sir, and Lisa's like, we're still kind of like on thin ice. I still don't know if I can trust you that much, but you can have one shift as like a test one, and then like we'll see at the end of summer like where things go. Britt, ready to go on her trip, she goes back to the apartment to pack her bags, and Jax is there. So they have a little bit of like a heated conversation, and she asks, okay, like, you know, I need to know, is it true? Did you hook up with Faith? Jax confirms it, which literally makes you want to smack your head so hard because Brittany has done so much for him, and he goes and behaves like this. It's like, it's absolutely vile and disgusting. But anyways, we also have a date between Stassi and Patrick, and I don't know how I feel about Patrick. Like, because how Stassi talks about him, we think that he's like some amazing wow guy, but then with their conversations, there's like something off about him. Like, I don't really like him. He's telling Stassi about this trip. I understand, yeah, like you do things that you want to do, you do things for you, but he didn't even invite like Stassi to go there. He expected her to be perfectly fine with it, and she was also like kind of on edge because they've been like on and off, but like while they've been on and off, he's also blocked her everywhere, so she doesn't really know where they stand. It's just like we're just not really getting good vibes with Patrick. At this point, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I feel like Stassi deserves someone who actually like wants to be with her, for lack of a better word. So Britt goes and comes back from her little trip to Vegas. She goes into work, and Lisa pulls her aside. She's like, hey, how are you going? Like, is everything okay? Brittany obviously super sad, but Lisa gives her a pep talk, and we love that. And we also have a little conversation between Ari and Britt, and we find out that Britt, like when she got back, while like she was able to get like some of her head cleared being away from Jax, but she did have a moment of weakness, and they slept together. And Britt's like kind of regret it, kind of don't, but she's like, you know, I think I really need time away from him, like no contact or anything, to really like process what happened and to figure out like where we go from there. And that marks the end of episode 2. We're getting closer to Jax's birthday, and Britt actually had planned like a super cute like couples massage spa day. So she's like, you know what, Jax is obviously not coming, I'm gonna bring Stassi. So they have fun at the spa. Then we have Ariana, who actually has a little equestrian competition. So she brings Jeremy and Tom as support. While she's doing her own thing competing, Tom and Jeremy have a little talk. And Tom opens up about them having like intimacy problems. And he doesn't really say too much, but like we will see throughout the season. Not exactly what it entails, but like why they're having these problems. And Jeremy's like, you know, like very valid, but you guys need to work on this because you don't want these problems to be the end of your relationship. So like figure it out so you can work around it so it doesn't like come and basically bite you in the ass like in a couple of months or in a couple of weeks. So Stassi, being an amazing friend to Brittany, she's like, let me plan you a little feel better party. All of her friends make a little something from back home, something that Brittany loves, just like a little piece of Kentucky, so she has, and it's super cute. The girls have so much fun. And Stassi, being the like witchy friend that she is, she kind of plans, how would I describe it? Like a little witchy like ritual to basically give Jax the karma that he deserves. We'll see if he gets his karma. I feel like throughout season, I mean, maybe at the end of season 6, we can kind of see him getting a little bit of karma. Let's not move too fast. So Lala goes over to Sir and she basically begs Lisa for her job back. But Lisa's like, you know, you always run away when things get tough. So how am I supposed to like trust you? You know, how am I supposed to know that you're actually going to be there when it matters? And before they can kind of like finish the conversation, we have Ari and Britt who join in. They all start talking a bit about Jax. And then I forget who it is, but someone asked Britt, okay, do you think it was like a one-time thing or no? Brittany's like, yeah, it was definitely a 100% a one-time thing. Like Jax and I talked about it. And Ari's like, you know, that's not exactly what I heard. It's like, Jax, please stop. Please just stop. And like, if you want to cheat on your girlfriend, break up with your girlfriend. If you don't want to break up with your girlfriend, don't cheat on your girlfriend. It's literally not rocket science. So Brittany actually calls Jax and, you know, she brings up, was it a one-time thing? He's like, yeah, but then she's like, you know, I don't really think it's a one-time thing. And they kind of like start arguing about it. And then Jax is like, oh, you know, like what does it matter if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 time thing? And Brittany's like, well, obviously it does matter, right? So it's a huge fight. And Jax is just like, he's like screaming at her, acting very rude. And he basically tells her to shut up when it's like, you literally cheated on your girlfriend. And that's the whole reason why you're having this conversation. But like, sure. So Brittany wants to finally confront Jax. So all the girls are going to her apartment to, you know, be there for moral support. So Jax walks in and Brittany and him start talking about it. And then Jax is like, Brittany, you've been partying so much. Like, are you even mad? And it's like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with it, right? So all the girls get mad. So it's a huge fight. Jax ends up, I think he ends up getting like kicked out. He's so disrespectful and rude. And I'm actually so happy that Britt was like, you know, I need my friends here because I cannot do this alone. Because honestly, he deserved everything that he got like during this encounter. We also have Ari and Lala who go to Sheena's and they kind of like spill some tea. So Lala's like, you know, one of my friends actually made out with Schwartz after their wedding. So we're like, Tom, literally like not after the wedding as in like the day after, but it's like after they got married, like that's what happened. And it's like, Schwartz, all these problems you had with Katie, like you were finally married, stop, just stop. But what made it worse is that Lala's like, he actually called her Bubba. Bubba is what he calls Katie. You know, obviously like not very good. Then we get to Sheena's party. Yes, Sheena's party, everything is fun, everyone's having fun. But Ari goes up to Tom and she's like, hey, you know, this is what I heard. Is it true? Tom is like, I don't really remember because I was like very drunk. And he wants to go talk to Katie about it. But Ari's like, let's not do it here. It's Sheena's night. Like, let her have her birthday, let her have fun. This is a conversation you guys need to have in private, not around a lot of people. Like, do this someplace else. And she's able to convince Tom like not to have the conversation right now. And that brings episode 3 to an end. So episode 4 is actually really, really short. Jax and Britt are having a housewarming party. Remember how they moved into a new apartment, right? But he also cheated on her. So the whole gang is like, okay, you know, I mean, I'll come to be there for Britt, but is everything like, is it as if nothing really happened? And we see that Brittany is really trying to work on it. Like, she does still like obviously not feel the best about it, but she's like, you know, I'm the type of person who I give people chances. I work through things with them. Like, I don't just walk away when the going gets tough. So we're like, seems like a recipe for the disaster. But we'll see what happens. So now we have a few rumors going around. Lala is back in search. She has her first shift and she goes to talk with Katie. My bad. Katie goes up to her to talk and Katie's like, you know, I've heard from people that you're spreading rumors that Tom cheated on me. But Lala's like, it wasn't me, it was Sheena. So Katie's like a little pissed, a little mad at Sheena. Britt actually has a little party, well, a little like lunch thing with the girls. And she invites them all to the housewarming party. Obviously, as I mentioned before, the girls are like a little confused, but they're like, you know what, Brits, like, it's your party, I'll be there for you because we love you. And we actually find out from Katie that Jen, I don't know if you remember Jen from season 1. Jen works at SUR, but she works somewhere else. So Jen told Katie that one of her friends actually made out with Rob. So Katie's like, you know, she's like, well, Sheena spreading rumors about my relationship when it's like, your relationship isn't going like that well either. So we have Rob, Sheena, Ari, and Tom who goes to dinner at Rob's place, and it's Ari and Tom's first time meeting Rob, and they really like him. They seem like a really fun group, and Rob has like a super gorgeous house, so that's a very successful little dinner. Then we have Ari who goes shopping with Lala, and Ari starts opening up about, do you remember how I said they were having intimacy problems, right? So Ari opens up that she had a very toxic ex, very verbally and then physically abusive, and he would just like make comments about her body, and she's like, yeah, you know, it was in the past, and obviously been with Tom for years, but I'm feeling the aftermath of that like still coming up today. So as I mentioned, episode 4 is like really short, and this is where we end. Then episode 5, it's a little bit of a mess. Episode 5 and 6, it's the housewarming party, so you know, alcohol is involved. We can probably guess what happened. So episode 5, we have Tom and Katie who bring their 2 little dogs, Gordo and, was it Muffin or Cup? I forget what the, Buttercup, Butter. Gordo and Butter to Vanderpumps for a little grooming session. Lisa's there. So Lisa actually gives Tom a little bit of shit because she's like, you know, Tom, like, you need to get your shit together before we can go into business, because a business is like a marriage, right? Like, we need to trust each other. We need to be on the same path. If we're not on the same path, it's not gonna work out. Katie's like kind of happy because she's like, okay, you know, it's not just me who's like giving him shit to grow up. But Tom, it's like, please fix your behavior. So we have Kristen and Sheena who go over to Brett, and Kristen tells the girls that there's rumors going around that Rob is cheating on Sheena. So apparently someone came up to him, showed him a picture, showed him, my bad, a picture of Sheena, and then she was like, oh, you know, is that your girlfriend? Rob is like, not really. And then they were seen making out later that night. Sheena doesn't believe it because she's like, you know, Rob isn't like a very touchy-feely, not a very like PDA physical person. It's more in private. So this doesn't make any sense. I don't believe it. And it's like, yes, I get where Sheena's coming from, but I feel like it's also, I don't know. I have my own personal thoughts about Rob that we're gonna see like maybe halfway through the season when they go to the lake house. But him and Patrick, not really vibing with. So we get to the housewarming party, the absolute mess of a housewarming party. Everything at first is going very smoothly, very fun, very nice, very demure. We have Jax who's having a conversation with Carter, and he's talking about the whole Faith situation. Brittany overhears, and she actually, I mean, like, this is maybe like midnight, so they all have a little alcohol in their system, right? Brittany gets very bad because she's like, you know, why are you talking to Carter about it and not talking to me? So she kind of goes off at him. Obviously Jax drank also. He's not really keeping like himself calm and leveled, and Ari and Lala hear from the balcony. They come over, they back up Britt because Jax is literally yelling at her. So they kind of like go aside for a bit, let Britt and Jax talk it out. And then in a little corner, we have Kristen, Lala, Ari, and then James who are talking. And Lala actually says that she has it on audio of Jack saying that he's never gonna marry Brittany. And James also said that basically Faith like sent him a voice message of everything that happened. So very incriminating because it's literally like Jax's voice. And then they want to tell Britt, you know, because they're like, she needs to know before she even like considers giving him another chance. Lala goes up to Britt and she's like, hey, I have these recordings. Do you want to hear it? Brittany at first, she's like unsure, but then she's like, you know what? Yes, I want to hear it. And the episode ends with them out on the balcony. You don't hear the message. You don't know what's going on. You just have a view out from the window. You see them holding the phone. Britt breaking down and the girls like hugging her. Part of me is curious, like I want to know what he says, but then on the other hand, knowing Jax, knowing how he gets when he's like a little drunk or a little like, you know, in his having one of his moments, let's put it that way, he doesn't use the nicest words. So I can just imagine what was said and I'm like, no, just no. Episode 6, we kind of find out a bit what was said through what other people are saying. Jack said like he never wants to get married to Brittany, he never wants to have kids with her. He's saying that he's not attracted to her, he doesn't want to be with her sexually. And he's like, you know, Faith was like the best sex I've had in my life. Even if you were thinking that, this is what you tell to the Toms. It's not what you I don't know who he told, but it's like people having that on audio recording, it's like, Jax, if you're gonna be an asshole, at least be like smart about it, you know? Party escalates, but we don't really know like what happens. The next day we have Ari, Tom, who are at Sheena's, and they basically talk about the party. Lala, I'm pretty sure she's also there. So Tom is like, hey, you know, what exactly happened? How did things escalate? Because obviously he wasn't with the girls. So all the girls explain, and then Lala says that, you know, she had this recording. She was like, she didn't just play it. She asked Britt, hey, do you want to hear this? Britt says yes, and Tom's kind of getting annoyed at her because he's like, you know, you should have known better. You shouldn't have played this at this party when everyone was drunk. And like, yes, you understand where he's coming from, but it's also like, this is your friend. Like, if you have this information, your friends should know. So I kind of like understand both of their point of views. So Jax and Britt actually have a conversation about the night before. Jax is like getting very mad at her for like having played the audio, and it's like, I can understand because apparently they did agree to listen to it together, but he's putting all the blame on her, saying it's her fault for basically wrecking the party and that she has to take accountability for her actions, where it's like, this literally happened because you cheated on your girlfriend. So it's like, okay, calm down, Jax, being like very hypocritical right now. And on a somewhat, I guess, better note, we have Katie, Tom, Stassi, and Patrick who go out for dinner, and the whole like event, like the whole party becomes like obviously a topic of conversation. Stassi, if you remember from previous seasons, she's like very cautious of how her image comes across to Patrick, and she's kind of like not feeling super great because her friends are a reflection of her. And she's like, you know, I dated Jax, and now Patrick knowing this, like, what does it tell him about me? Which, like, fair, I get that, but it's like another thing in the pattern of her always trying to have to be a different person around Patrick. Like, yes, I 100% understand where she's coming from, but it's also like making me more on edge and like not like Patrick. Even though he's better than Jax, don't really like him that much. Katie and Stassi go over to Britt to help cheer her up, and obviously they're gonna talk about Jax, and Britt is like, you know, I feel like he's a different person every time that I talk to him. Like, we have a good moment, but then it's bad, but then it's good, but then it's bad, and it's just like making it more confusing for her. Later that day, she does have a shift at SUR, and she talks with Lisa about it, absolutely just breaks down. You know, her whole thing was, if he actually cheated on me, I'm gonna go back to Kentucky because I don't want to deal with this. And Lisa's like, you know, you have a good job, you have a good friend, like, you have good friends, you built like a great community around yourself. Don't throw it all away just for like one asshole. You know, Lisa is like going to be very honest about it. She gives amazing advice, but she also doesn't hide how much Jax Taylor annoys her. We actually gain a bit of clarity on the whole like Rob situation. They're at SUR, and Sheena goes up to Jen and basically asks her, you know, like, this is what I heard. What exactly happened? Like, what do you know that happened? And basically Jen tells her that her friend came up to her, showed her a picture of Sheena, and she was like, you know, apparently he's dating her, but he made out with me like last night. And we find out that Sheena actually did have a conversation with Rob, and Rob was like, yeah, you know, this is a girl who I dated before. I basically twirled her around and gave her a kiss on like the cheek. So it's like a wholesome, cute moment. But Jen is like, you know, it was much more inappropriate than what you're describing. Sheena, it's like she doesn't want to hear it. She idolizes Rob, and it's something that we do see throughout this season, to the point that it's like annoying everyone and like the viewer also. What exactly happened, obviously we will never know, but how Jen was like, her face and how she was like, yeah, it was much more inappropriate than that. It's like, Sheena girl, please listen, like, you deserve the best. Please don't put him on a pedestal that he should not be on. So Britt and Jax do have another conversation, and Britt is like, you know what? I'm gonna give you one more chance. This is your last chance. You're not messing up again, because if not, I'm out. You know, they're slowly rebuilding like a good, healthy, happy relationship. But Britt is like, you have to go to therapy 100%. So we end this episode with Jax agreeing, okay, you know what? Time to go to therapy. And we do kind of start seeing Jax like actually taking it seriously very soon after, like in episode 7. We have Tom, where is he? Peter and Jax who go to a Reiki meditation therapist place, right? They all do a session with this Reiki therapist, and they all open up about what's going on in their life. Jax absolutely breaks down crying, and with how he's talking, it seems like he is having a breakthrough moment, but it's also like, this is Jax Taylor. Like, we've seen him break down, say like he's gonna change for the girl and stuff like that, and like he did that with Stassi. Is it actually true this time? Like, is it actually a breakthrough moment? Are you gonna change? Because at some point he had his all, like, I want to be Jason again, you know? But you're still acting like an asshole. So is it going to be efficient? Yes, no, who knows? But at least, you know, he's taking the steps with his friends. So I guess progress. Ari, Sheena, Lala, and Brit go to this like cosmetic clinic, I guess you can call it. And they obviously talk about like what's going on. And Sheena's actually like very mad at Katie that she's like talking about Rob rumors. We also find out a bit more about Rob, and it's really affecting Sheena that he's being brought up because it makes him want to pull away from her. And she's like, I haven't seen him in a long time. So it's like her promoting these rumors like hurts my relationship. And like, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. Very, very fair she's pissed. Then that night, Britt actually goes out with Stassi, where are they? Katie and Kristen to a La La Land premiere. And obviously, they are going to talk about Sheena and Rob. Katie is actually mad because she's like, you know, she's like accusing me of like saying these rumors, but she is also spreading rumors that Tom is cheating on me. Be for real, you know? They also ask Britt, like, you know, how's it going? How are you dealing with things? And Britt is like, you know, it's hard, but there is some change, so I am doing better. And Stassi, obviously Stassi knows Jax, so she's like, you know, be careful, Britt, because this is what he always does. He cries, he breaks down, he says he's gonna change, he goes to therapy, he says all the right things. And yeah, sure, maybe he follows suit for a little bit, but he always does the same thing over and over again. Just watch out, because this is Jax Taylor, and like he does unfortunately have this pattern. We also have James and Lala who go out for lunch, right? And they order a bunch of drinks, but it's like James was literally working on like not drinking as much. We're like, James, like, be for real, but he's so ready to get drunk. He's like, you know what, I can stop whenever I want. I have full control over it. And it's like, I mean, keep telling yourself that, like, if it does make you feel better. He does tell Lala that him and Raquel are actually planning to move in together. Lala, you can tell in her face, she's like not really happy about it. So James, like, he calls it out immediately, but not in like a nice way. Like, he kind of like starts to fight. He calls Lala a bitch. He accuses her of bullying Raquel, and Lala, obviously, she doesn't like let herself be talked to like this. So it's a massive fight, and James also threatens to like mess with her boyfriend when it's like, you know, why are we doing this? And then Lala, before like storming off and walking away, she's like, James, you need to learn how to talk with people. You need to learn how to have a conversation with people, because one day you're gonna turn around and I'm not gonna be here and you're gonna have like no one left. Which, very fair. That obviously not super cute, fun, fluffy demure. We go over to Sir, and Sheena's talking with Britt. Apparently, when they went out to the La La Land premiere, one of Sheena's mom's friends was there, and she heard Sheena's name being brought up. So Sheena's like, you know, this is what my mom's friend said, like, were you guys talking about me? Brittany, you know, she tells Sheena that, yeah, you know, Katie was talking about you. Like, Katie isn't like super happy that you're spreading rumors about Tom. Sheena's like very mad because she's like, you know, she's doing this like back to me. She's like a hypocrite, like blah blah blah. She really goes off on Katie, but Britt's, you know, like, Britt is friends with Katie. She is defending her, and Sheena doesn't like that. Gets heated. It's not really feeling like live, laugh, love. And she's like, you know what? I am not having this conversation. I'm right, you're wrong. And she walks away. We have Kristen, who is scheming. Obviously, she's not like Jax's #1 fan, and she does want the best for Brittany, but she also wants to mess with Jax. So her master plan is to fly out Brittany's mom to LA, because she's like, you know, if there's anyone who can like convince Britt to walk away from Jax for good, it's her mom. I don't want to play devil's advocate, but I support it, but I also think it's a shitty thing to do. But I do kind of support it. And we actually have a little like, I'm not sure what it was, a little like party, whatever. The whole gang is there. Logan is one of James' like closest friends, right? Everyone is like watching them interact, and Jax is like, yeah, there's definitely something more than friends going on between those two. And at some point, you even see Raquel's face. Raquel looks like she feels very uncomfortable. So we're like, is there something more? Is there not? Who knows? But it's like, if your girlfriend is feeling uncomfortable, something's wrong, right? The day after that, we have Kristen and Katie who go over to Britt and Jax's apartment. No one really knows what's going on. Jax leaves a little living room to do I'm not sure what, and then the door opens again. In walks Britt's mom. Obviously Britt is like static, smell in her face. Jax is like listening from like behind the wall, and his face, the look of dread, he looks horrified, he looks shocked. You know exactly what Jax Taylor is thinking, because he's like, this is literally the last thing I want. Oh my god, I needed a water break. But basically episode 8, so Jax is like, you know, I didn't know that you were coming, but now that you're here, I'm gonna go buy you a gift, right? So he leaves the apartment. The girls also leave the apartment. apartment. So it was only Britt and her mom. And her mom asked, like, you know, how are you feeling? How are things going? Britt is like, I'm still trying to work through things. I'm not 100% here in the relationship, but I do want to try to build things. And her mom is like, you know, it is very possible that Jax is just like not the one for you. And Brittany acknowledges it. So it seems to be like Brittany is like slowly coming to terms with, okay, like Jax, maybe I'm giving him too many chances. Maybe I'm like investing too much in this. Maybe he's not the one for me. Lala actually goes to have lunch with Katie. There has been growth in her. She does want to bring the gang together. She does want like all these girls to be good friends. And obviously the topic of Rob, like the Rob rumors, the Schwartz rumors come up. And Katie's like, you know, I don't have anything against Sheena. It's just that, you know, she's doing this to me and then she's accusing me of like starting rumors when like that's exactly what she's doing. They actually seem to have like a really good and like civil, peaceful, like, you know, you can tell this it's the start of a friendship. And I'm actually so proud of Lala because like, yes, she does get a little like hot-headed at times, but there definitely is growth. And I'm like, Lala, we love to see that. Rob and Carter have a joint birthday party and Kristen isn't done scheming. She invites Brittany's sister over to surprise her. Brittany loves that. Just like literally having the best week of her life, minus like all the things with Jax, right? Lisa pulls Britt's mom to have a conversation. Britt's mom's attitude towards Jax, I was gonna say James, Jax is obviously very different than the other time, and she's not really feeling Jax like she did before. We also have Brittany who has a conversation with Jax, and she's like, you know, if you want to make it up to me, that's like one thing, but you have to make it up to my family because you're not just putting me through this, you're putting them through all of this, and I'm not gonna accept you back if my family doesn't accept you, which I find like very fair. She's like super close with her family, so it's like, Jax, like you need to be on your best freaking behavior, no slip ups, no mess ups. If not, Brittany's out, which I think is very fair. So yeah, she's like, you do really need to impress my mom and my sister because you've been an asshole. So Lala is trying to get Sheena and Katie to talk. She's talking with Katie a bit and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna grab Sheena and we're gonna have like a cute fun little conversation together. Sheena at first isn't really like, she's not really happy, but she's like, you know, she's somewhat open to it. And Lala's like, you know what, we just need to sit down and talk. James overhears, he inserts himself. He's like, you know, I don't think we all need to sit down, as a joke, right? But Lala's like, no, like, we are not doing this. You go away. This does not concern you. And James is kind of like, I wouldn't say he's putting up a fight, but he is like inserting himself where he doesn't belong, but like in a joking, like fluffy, I guess you can say, way. Kristen comes over. Kristen is a little more agitated. She's like, James, stop inserting yourself into other people's business. They said like, it doesn't concern you. And then Sheena is like kind of mirroring what James is saying. Lala gets mad, starts yelling. Sheena's like getting mad also. And then Schwartz comes in. I don't know where Schwartz came from. I think it's because Sheena was like saying something bad about Katie. Schwartz comes in. And okay. So Sheena was like, Katie, you're like super fake. Lala also basically calls both girls fake. Schwartz comes in and he's like, Sheena, look at your nails. You're the fakest person here and stuff like that. It was kind of funny because he literally came out of nowhere and everyone is like surprised because they weren't expecting it. Like people have smiles on their faces. People honestly do find it like pretty funny. He basically calls her fake from head to toe. And then Sheena's like, oh, you know, well, all you care about is like making out with girls at bars. We did not need to go there, but fair. And they all kind of like disperse after that. Sheena goes away. We are actually really impressed with Schwartz for finally standing up for Katie. Schwartz is also like, you know what? I did that. I am proud of myself. He's like incompetently adorable, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm not making any sense, but if you've seen Schwartz, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. So the day after that party, we have James and Lala who go play tennis, and Lala's like, you know what, I'm done trying to bring these girls together. I tried, it's not working, starts a fight. I'm done. And also, she does bring up the topic of conversation of Logan. So James is like, you know, yeah, sure, like Logan maybe sometimes he gets jealous I spend time with Raquel, but it's nothing. That's what we're led to believe. But then we flash to Brittany and Jax's apartment. They're there with Brittany's mom and sister, and her sister actually says that the night before they finished at the party and they were going to like a bar for like an after party, her sister was in the Uber cab, whatever, with Logan. And Logan was like visibly like anxious, like stressed. He was like, where's James? Where's James? Where's James? And he basically confessed that they were sleeping together. Her sister is like, well, he does have a girlfriend, no? And then Logan is like, well, you know, if Raquel hasn't figured it out, then she's like an idiot. So we're like, oh god, what is about to happen? James, Jax, and the Toms go to this box at gym. And then the conversation of topic of Brittany's family comes up. It's James who actually brought it up. And then Jax is like, you know, this is what her sister told me. James is getting like very defensive. He's like, you know, I have a girlfriend. I love my girlfriend. Nothing is happening between us. The guys like aren't really believing him, and he gets like very heated. He's like, do you guys like not believe it? Like, or he's like, I forget how he asked it, but he's like, oh, like, do you guys like actually believe like this is true? All the guys are like quiet. So James gets pissed. He storms off. He's like, you guys are absolute like assholes, losers, whatever. While that is happening, we have Stassi and Kristen who go to Sir while Lala and Britt are working. Lala sits them down. Britt's like comes by, says hi. And then Stassi's like, so Logan, Lala doesn't know what's like about to be said. So the girls tell her what they know. And then Lala's like, you know, do I think that he would date a guy? No, but it would not surprise me if he hooked up with one. So we're like, what exactly, like, is something happening between James and Logan? That night, we actually have James and Raquel who go out for dinner. And obviously, Raquel heard about what was going on and they talk about it. James doesn't seem to understand why she's so annoyed. He's like telling her, nothing is happening, like you should believe me. But then Raquel is like, this is just like another person who's telling me that they slept with my boyfriend. So it's like, you know, obviously I trust you because I love you, but it has happened before. So like, what am I supposed to believe at this point, right? While they're having their little dinner, Brittany's at work, obviously. So Jax goes out with her mom and her sister. They obviously have like a very like deep talk about what Jax did, and her mom actually asks if the cheating was like a one-time thing, if he wanted a relationship, if he had feelings for the girl. And Jax is like, no, you know, there was nothing like emotional. It wasn't the girl. It was just like the act that I needed. Brittany's mom is obviously asking more questions. How, like, what's your logic? Why are you doing this? Jax is like, you know, I don't want to like say anything bad about Brittany. Basically what he's saying is that like, I don't want to like talk bad about your daughter, but she doesn't do anything. She sleeps until 1 and eats all day. And then her mom, like very rightly so, is like, well, what do you do, Jax? And then they kind of go back and forth. Jax does break down. He does seem like he's doing some introspection. And he basically tells her mom that he hates himself. You know, he's not happy with himself. He doesn't like himself. And obviously it makes her mom sad because like deep down she does care about Jax because like, you know, things were good and she like grew to know him. Her mom seems to be giving him a second chance, which like I feel like she should not have because that leads to other things in the season. But her mom can kind of see like the light at the end of the tunnel. So I wouldn't say she gives Jax her blessing, but she's like, if you can change, like we do support you being with Brittany. So the next day, Britt, her sister, and her mom sit down. Britt asks about the dinner and her mom is like, you know, obviously I'm not happy with what happened, but after having this talk, after hearing his side, I am ready to give him a second chance. And then we have James who walks in. He basically asks Brittany's sister, okay, like what exactly happened, what was said. He decides to call Logan in front of them, right? He calls Logan, he asks about it, and Logan is like, you know, it's lies, I never said that. They kind of go back and forth, and then he confesses that like, yes, you know, I do like you, I was jealous. James gets very mad, which like I can understand because James doesn't have like that many friends. He was like an asshole in the past, right? So his friends mean so much to him, and he's sad because he's like, you know, I don't want to lose a friend because of this, but like you were still an asshole, right? Episode 9. So we have Lisa, who's becoming editor-in-chief at Beverly Hills Lifestyle magazine. She was very impressed with Stassi planning Guillermo's birthday. So she's like, you know what, Stassi, can you plan this for me? And she actually asked James to DJ the event. So we can see James kind of like getting his life together, getting back in Lisa's good graces, and we love that. Schwartz is actually having his brothers come into town. As we know from the wedding, they're not the most like, I guess you can say, fashion forward people. Him, Tom, and Katie all go out to buy things for the brothers, and then they're kind of like discussing where the brothers are gonna stay. So Schwartz is like, you know what, I want them to stay at our place. Katie's like, you know, our place is kind of small for like 3 extra people, but they're family, so whatever, she allows us. So we have a new character. We have Billy, who I put right over here. You're gonna see why she's over here in like maybe an episode or 2. But basically, Stassi wants to have Billy on the podcast because Billy is trans. So Stassi's like, you know, I want you to tell people your story so people can like open their eyes, people can like see, you know, how like your struggles and just like your story. And then Billy actually brings up people were saying things about her, okay, because basically in the past she didn't really use the correct wording in her podcast. They're basically telling Billy like, oh, watch out. And Stassi actually does break down crying because she's like, you know, I am not a bad person. Yes, I messed up, I didn't use the right word, but that's not who I am, that's not how I think. Billy's like, I know you, like I know you're not one of like the bad people, but like this is what what I heard. So they had a little conversation about that. We actually find out there was an electrical fire at Sir. Basically, the fuse box exploded. The restaurant is like closed for, they think maybe like a week, but the bar is like open. And Jeremy the hero, put out the fire. So we love Jeremy. Then we go to Lisa's party. Jax had agreed to bartend at this party, right? But he's not showing up. So Stassi's like, you know what, Lisa, like I can go bartend, like it's fine. You focus on this, don't even think about it. So she goes there, and then Lisa at some point runs into her son Max, and then she's like, you know what, Max, can you go bartend so Stassi can like supervise the event? Maybe like 30 minutes pass, and then Brittany walks in. So everyone asks Brittany like, oh, you know, where's Jax? And Brittany's like, you know, I'm so sorry, I'm late, like I was waiting for him, but he's getting a haircut. And Lisa's like, he's getting a haircut like now when he's supposed to be here. But he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I have bartending experience. I can go do it. So Lisa sends her to the bar. About an hour later, Jax walks in, acting like, I mean, he is like apologetic. He does apologize. Lisa's like, you know what? This is my night. This is my party. You obviously do not respect me enough. Goodbye. You're out. And she kicks him out of the event. So the episode ends with Jax going back to the Reiki therapist because he liked how she was, right? And he opens up about how toxic the modeling industry was and how it shaped him to the person he is today. He's like, you know, I want to become Jason again. I don't want to be Jax. I want to be Jason. And he asked her, like the therapist, to call him Jason. Is this gonna start something with the therapist? Is this progress? Who knows? But that's where we end the episode. Episode 10. We have Ari and Stassi, who are both planning their birthdays. Ari's going for like kings and queens theme. And then where is she? And then Stassi's going, I wouldn't say like murder mystery, but like undead monsters, creepy type vibes. So Lisa has another meeting with the Toms, and she finally gets the permits from the city. So Tom is a go. Both guys write her a check, and everything's looking up for Tom. We also have Ari, who goes to therapy for the problems that she was having with intimacy, and she really opens up about like she opens up more about like toxic ex and like what he was doing to her. And then we have a little talk between Ari and Tom post therapy, and then Tom is like, you know, you were so different before, like what exactly happened? And Ari's like, you know, I was never like different. I was never like fully confident. I was basically faking it, thinking that it would help, and I was like doing things to impress you. And then Tom is like kind of confused because he's like, were you actually? He's just like, I mean, I can understand that he's confused. He's trying to understand her, but then not really believing her, being like, oh no, you were confident, when Ari's like, no, I was not. Like it's kind of putting, I wouldn't say a strain in the relationship, but it's kind of like creating a little bit of tension. Then Ari brings up that it's like, you know, I need to feel close to you. I need to have that emotional closeness. Like we're not spending as much time together. We're not going on as many dates. And it's like, I cannot be confident. I cannot be comfortable fully if there's not that closeness, which I feel like is very fair. Then we jump to the parties. Ari's party looks amazing. She looks so good. And Tom's costume also, one thing I love about Tom loves dressing up, and like I'm always so curious to find out what he wears, but Ari literally looks like a goddess. Absolutely gorgeous. Then we move to Stassi's party. Everything looks super cool and creepy. Stassi's having like so much fun, and it seems like both parties are gonna go down like without any problems. But then in walks Patrick, and it's kind of awkward because we find out from Stassi that he actually had her blocked when he was in Amsterdam, and they didn't really talk about it, so it's like one of the first times that they're seeing each other since he came back. I mean, also on top of that, he's like not dressed to theme, and Katie actually pulls him for a talk, and Katie's like, you have to stop being so hot and cold on and off, going like back together and breaking up with Stassi. Like you can't continue doing this. Patrick is just like, oh, you know, like when we're not together, Stassi can sleep with whoever she wants, but she can't date them. Katie's face is like, do you even hear yourself right now? I don't know, it's just like literally every time we see Patrick, kind of like gives me an ick. And you can tell that like Stassi is progressively getting more on edge. Like obviously the alcohol doesn't help, but she's very stressed, very just like uncomfortable with Patrick being there, that she does go off on Kristen and Katie, and she storms out of the party. I feel so bad for her because she was having so much fun. Probably gonna be one of her best birthdays. And she even said it herself, like, I'm so happy, I'm having so much fun. And it's like, your boyfriend is the one who wrecked that. Like, it's sad. It's truly devastating. But anyways, we move on to episode, I was gonna say chapter. We're moving on to episode 11. We actually have the whole gang minus Kristen, and Stassi, who go up to Rob's cabin in Big Bear. So Sheena invites them all. Basically, once they get there, all the guys go down to the liquor store to buy what they want, and the girls go sunbathing. Lala actually talks to Raquel, and she's like, you know what, like, you need to keep James in check because he's acting up, he's being very rude. Like, yes, I'm his friend, but if he doesn't stop, I'm not gonna be his friend anymore. And Raquel is actually, I mean, obviously she's like, yeah, sure, I get you 100%, but she also like expresses how happy she is to be here. But she was like, you know, I didn't really feel like super included, but now I'm super happy that like Sheena, you invited me, and just being like super grateful and like fluffy and warm. Sheena literally spends so much time talking about how good Rob is, and it's like things that she's saying here, she repeats so much throughout the episode. Like, we all know about how Rob like towed a boat with his car. We know how he mounted a TV and stuff like that, and it's like, I mean, like, me as a viewer, I'm like, how many times do I have to hear about how Rob can mount a TV? Like, yes, I understand he can actually do things, he's not like Shay, but it's like, girl, like, no one needs to know how Rob mounts a TV. So Stassi actually has Katie over to help her install furniture. Obviously, they start talking about Patrick. So Stassi is like, he wasn't really happy with my meltdown last night, and Katie brings up, you know, every time I see you around him, it seems like you're scared about like making him angry or like not making him super comfortable, when it's like, you shouldn't have to be super on edge with him. And then Stassi, like, she does acknowledge, you know, I love him, but there are some unhealthy patterns, we have to work on it. So at least she doesn't seem blind, which we're like, okay, like, I guess that's good, but also like, you should not be this stressed and like have your boyfriend like wreck your birthday the way that he did. So we'll see what ends up happening between them. But we go back to Big Bear, we go a little bit later in the evening, and then we have James and Raquel who are having a little chat. Raquel is really listening to what Lala said, and she basically tells James, like, Lala is your friend, like, you do have to be supportive of her. And it's like, yeah, if there's something that you're kind of concerned with, like, do bring it up, but be nice about it. James is just like, you know, how can I be supportive of her relationship when it's rotten? It's when he drinks that he gets agitated, and even though Raquel is being like, okay, you know, if there's something bad, like, say it. You know, I'm not telling you not to say it, but it's like, she's your friend, like, you have to be nice about it. But James is like, no, it's like a rotten relationship, it's gross, like, I don't support it. So later in the evening, when the gang has had more alcohol, they start playing Never Have I Ever. James and Lala, I mean, mainly James, he's being like very touchy towards her. Everyone looks a little uncomfortable. Even Raquel looks like very like on the side, like not comfortable. It escalates into something. Like, Lala and James start screaming at each other. Brittany and Ari tried to like separate them apart because he was literally like going at her. Then they end up like leaving them alone to talk. And then Lala's like, are we even friends anymore? And James is like, no, and then walks away. I can understand why Lala is like so frustrated with him. My pen. But it's also like, James, you have to realize you have a drinking problem. Like, yes, I know that you're trying to like control it, but it's like, I mean, he says himself, like, I'm a social drinker, I will like drink around people, but it's like, maybe you should not be drinking around people. Have we thought of that? Raquel actually goes to pull James, and she reiterates her point. It's like, James, you have to be nicer to Lala. Like, you have to stop like antagonizing her and stuff like that. But she also brings up how touchy he's being with her, and she's like, you know, if this was like me with a guy, like, you would not be happy about it. And James like does acknowledge it. Then he asks Raquel to bring Lala over, so she brings her over, and you would think, okay, he's ready to apologize. Oh no. Oh, no. So Lala says, like, you know, you have to stop, like, saying shit about my boyfriend. And then she's like, I tell you things that I don't tell anyone else. And then you use it against me. And, like, Lala's actually becoming very vulnerable. And James is like, oh, well, you know, I don't do that much. So Lala gets mad. James gets mad. Re-escalates the fight again. Literally, most of the weekend was just them two fighting. And it's like, it's not even Lala, like, getting angry. And, I mean, obviously she's getting angry, but it's not even her raising her voice. It's, like, James who, like, keeps on pushing it. It's not let things go, and you can tell Lala's getting like pissed, but she's like stands her ground, so the fight continues. So obviously everyone else is getting like super annoyed because they're trying to sleep, and these two are fighting, but it seems like we're getting somewhere. So James is like, you know, I'm acting this way because I love you, and like, I know all the bad things that this guy has done, so when you tell me something good, you want me to be supportive. I can't do that because like, I care about you, I love you. And Lala's like, you know, we need to have these boundaries. I'm not saying bad things about Raquel, I'm not doing things to Raquel. You need to stop like saying bad things about my boyfriend. And it seems like, you know, we're going somewhere. And then Lala's like, okay, so do you want to apologize? And James is like, yeah, but you won't shut up for 2 seconds. And it's like, We were so close. We were literally so close. But that's where we end episode 11. So episode 12, we have Jax who goes on a fitness kick, right? So he wakes up somehow feeling refreshed after like that fight, and he goes for a run, but he's having a problem breathing, right? Rob says it's because of the altitude, so like be careful. And then Jax is like, let's go swim. So he wants to swim to a certain buoy, and I'm not sure what the distance was, but Rob is like, go slow, be careful. Jax basically goes like full force, and then he can't really get back. So he's like, guys, you can help me if you want, you can come, you can help. And the lifeguard is like, are you joking right now or not? Because he couldn't really tell if Jax was being serious or not. But then he ends up going, and then the whole gang is like, we should not be joking about this because someone like almost died. It's not funny, but it kind of is funny. Like they all find it funny. Like obviously it's a very serious thing, but it was kind of funny at the same time. I kind of felt bad for laughing, but also not. So Sandoval gets a call from Lisa. Apparently Lisa wants Tom to go on a little business trip with her to Vegas, but it's Tom's birthday. Well, like it's the weekend of Tom's birthday. So he's like, yes, Lisa, 100% I'm gonna come, but he's still trying to figure out, can I bring Ariana? Can I bring other people? Trying to work out what to do. So the gang goes on a little boat date. Everyone seems to have fun. And then once they dock back at the cabin, Rob, Jax, and Sandoval decide to go out themselves on the boat. And they started like chit-chatting. Jax like starts asking Rob about Sheena and his past. So we find out that Rob actually almost married someone before Sheena, but he wasn't ready for marriage. So he was like, I cannot do it. And then Jax actually brings up like how Sheena's talking about him. Rob is like, I love her as a person. Like I do feel like love feelings, but I don't know if I'm like ready to say I love you just yet. He's like, she's basically like saying I love you, waiting for me to reply. I'm just like not there. So Jax is like a little, Jax and Sandoval are a little confused because they're like, oh, they don't tell him, but they're like, how Sheena is talking about him seems like they're like all lovey-dovey and like everything is like super happy. But how Rob is saying it, it's not exactly that. So Raquel actually has a talk with Lala, and she brings up that she feels kind of like uncomfortable seeing how James interacts with her versus other girls because he's like more touchy-feely and like he's not like that with the others. So Lala's like, I understand you 100%. I would never like disrespect my boyfriend and like to even entertain something with James. Raquel's feeling a little bit better because she knows like nothing is going on from like Lala's point of view. But yeah, we actually move back to LA. Stassi wants to have Lisa on the podcast. So she's kind of like freaking out a little bit on like what questions to ask, but then they started the podcast and they started talking about like celebrity crushes. We find out who Lisa's celebrity crush is. I did not write it down, so I forget, but she was like very open to talk about it. And then we find out more about Ken and Lisa. Lisa actually met Ken through her brother, and they were like engaged in 6 weeks, married in 3 months, which seems like absolutely crazy. And then Lisa also shares that on the first date, Ken was like, oh, I'm not gonna give you my number because I know I'm gonna fall in love with you. You can tell that through this podcast, Stassi is learning a lot, and I feel like it's making her see differently like the guys that she's dating. Hearing Lisa talk about Ken, I feel like it does influence how she's gonna start thinking about Patrick. That night, Lala and James have another conversation, and Lala brings up the conversation that she had with Raquel. And James is like, he brings up their past more than friends relationship, and he's like, Raquel just has to be okay with it because like that's the way that it is. Lala like reinforces like, you need to change, we need to have boundaries. Like you cannot continue acting the way that you're acting now because like you have a girlfriend, I have a boyfriend, things are very different, and you need to change. If not, once again, you're gonna wake up one day and I'm not gonna be here. That was the last little bit of like Big Bear that we saw. And the whole gang gets back to LA. So Kristen actually goes over to Sheena to give her birthday gift because back in episode 1, she didn't want to bring it because she was like, Sheena might forget it at the bar, whatever. So she brings it directly to Sheena's apartment. Kristen brings up what Jax told her about Rob. So she's like, hey, I was talking to Jax and he told me that Rob was saying this about you. And Sheena gets like very, very mad. And she's like, what? If Jax is gonna go mess with my relationship, I'm gonna mess with his. At Kristen's face lights up. What will happen? We do not know, but that's the end of episode 12. So episode 13, Sir is back and open for business, so we love that. We also have Sandoval, Ari, Schwartz, Katie, who go to Vegas for the business trip, and they also bring Jax and Brittany. So the first night that they get there, the girls are getting ready, the guys are waiting for them downstairs, and Brittany comes in mentioning that she's been feeling super sick recently, and she pulls out a pregnancy test. So she's like, Jax doesn't know that I'm taking it. She goes, takes it. At first, we don't see what the result is, so we're like, is she pregnant or not? And the gang goes down, greets the guys. Brittany pulls Jax aside and she's like, you know how I've been like feeling sick lately? Jax is like, yeah. She pulls out the pregnancy test. So it's set up to look like she's pregnant, but she's not. And Jax does say some part of him is sad. So we're like, progress? Anyways, back in LA, we have Lala, who is setting up a little performance for the 5 songs that she has, and she asks Stassi to plan the event for her. They go over the plays, try to figure things out. Stassi actually meets Lala's team, and they start talking about cocktails. So Lala wants to do cocktail names that kind of relate to her songs, which I think is a super cute idea. Stassi also loves that. And Lala actually does bring up everything that happened with James in Big Bear. And James was actually supposed to perform, because they had like a little song together, right? James was supposed to be there for that. And Stassi's like, you know, after this, you need to decide if you want to be around him in a professional setting or not. Because, you know, this is your show. This is your night. You don't want him to mess it up for you, which I think is very valid. So we have Tom Schwartz's rules for Vegas. So rule number 1, he has a glass of water for every glass of beer. Rule number 2, if he loses $1,000, that's it. He cannot spend any more money. And rule 3, he can only go to the ATM machine a total of 15 times. So we're like, okay, they have rules. Things are gonna go well. And the first night, things actually do go pretty well. The gang gets back at 2 a.m. Then at 9, Sandoval and Schwartz get ready, go to the meeting with Lisa to kind of like figure out the lighting situation. And Lisa's actually very impressed with them. So we're like, okay, we love that. Everything seems like it's going well for Tom. And back in LA, we have James and Raquel who go out with Lala. And they start talking about the performance. So James asks if her boyfriend is gonna go to the show. Lala says no, because he's like very busy doing his things. He can't make it. And then Lala actually says, hey, you know, I'm gonna need you to be professional. It's an important night. I'm gonna need you to not drink. James at first he agrees, but then he's like, oh, you know, so it's important enough like for me to not drink, but it's not important enough for your boyfriend to come. Which I feel like is a very valid thing to say, but it's also like, just listen to your friend, respect your friend. It's really not that hard. So episode 13 ends with the second meeting for Tom. The night before, it's actually Tom's birthday. So the gang goes all out. And Sandoval is like, you know, it's my birthday. I don't want to be the one to cut it off, but if Schwartz says that we're done, we're done. And Schwartz, absolutely adorable. He gets very drunk, like, or to the point where he's like just on the floor sitting down and drinking. And Schwartz is like, you know what? I'm not going to be the one to cut off the fun. You know, if Sandoval says we're done, we're done. So they both have the same logic, so we're like, it's gonna be a recipe for absolute disaster. And their cutoff is 3 a.m., right? But then around 3, they're like, you know what, let's go for another hour. And they have a meeting with Lisa at 10 the next morning. At like 10:20, you see them in the hotel room, alarms go off, then you jump to like Lisa, Ken, Pandora, and Jason, and they're like, where are these guys, right? Even though the first meeting was super well, Lisa was super proud, she did get very annoyed, like they really disappointed her, and they annoyed her so much that she kicked them out of the meeting. And that wrapped up episode 13 and the little Vegas business trip. Brittany throws Jack's little birthday party at Hooters, and at the party, Sheena actually goes up to him and she asks, you know, like, this is what Kristen told me, like, what exactly did you talk about with Rob? And then Jack tells her, and then he's like, do you tell Rob that, like, basically, does Rob tell you that he loves you? And Sheena's like, absolutely. And Jax is like, oh, you know, well, that's not what he told me. So Sheena gets pissed, starts a little, like, not a big argument, but starts a little something. And then she's like, you know what? Screw you, Jax. Walks away. But besides that, there's not really any like big problems that happened. So I guess for a Vanderpump birthday, relatively successful. Billy actually goes to, I think it's Chris's apartment. Stassi's also there. And Billy's super excited. And this is why I put them together, because Jeremy asked her out. Super excited, super giddy. But then Stassi and Kristen's faces are like, ooh. Right? So Billy's like very confused. And then Kristen is like, you guys are going somewhere public, right? And Billy's like, wait, what are you talking about? Stassi's like, you know, at Katie's wedding, he did make a lot of people feel uncomfortable. So they're both like, you know, we're just looking out for you. Like, we want to make sure that you're not uncomfortable. And Billy's like, you know what? Like, obviously I'm going to listen to what you're saying, but I'm going to like judge for myself, right? Which I think is like very, very valid. And we have another person. Where are they? Sheena and Brittany, who go out to lunch. And then Sheena mentions that this new bartender, thinks that she's cute because basically he started working around when Brittany and Jax had broken up. In his head, he was like, okay, she's single. And Sheena, you can tell that she's kind of like scheming to, you know, set Brittany up with Adam. So Billy goes on the date. She brings up being trans and the struggles that she's had. And Jeremy is very accepting of them. And I have to think that they're super cute together. So I love to see that. So we have on another night, Sheena, who invites out Ari, Lala, Britt, Billy, Jeremy, and also Adam, because she wants, you know, she wants Brittany to get her confidence back. She wants to show Brittany, like, you know, there's more out there than Jax, and to introduce Adam and her to each other. I know that she's with Jax at this point. I think they would look super cute together, and they both have this like southern charm. It's just like, I feel like they have more in common than Jax. I kind of ship it. So episode 15, we have the Toms who have a business meeting with Lisa for Tom Tom, and they figure out what they want to do for the lighting, the vibe of the place, very like industrial with like gears, and I think looks super cute. And then the guys show Lisa a cocktail that they were working on, and Lisa is actually very impressed, so we love that. Then we have a little Vanderpump trip, right? Brittany plans this like big trip to Mexico for Jax's birthday because she was like, you know what, we need like a little something to like bring the gang together to just like make things right, because things have been like very messy in the past. So obviously the couples room together. Then we have Sheena, who goes with Lala, Stassi, who rooms with Kristen. My bad. We also have James, who rooms with Peter. Before going on this trip, Jax actually told Britt that he got an opportunity, like he got a call, and he has the opportunity to work in this like, I guess like social media marketing position. I don't know what exactly it is because he doesn't really like describe it. He just like threw it on to Brittany, didn't even talk about it with her, and he's like, oh, I'm accepting it. But it's like he didn't even like hear her point of view, like what she thinks, and it's like expected that she comes with him, but it's like, no. So in the hotel room, he tells her that he's gonna tell the guys about it, and he's like 95% sure he's gonna take it. And Brittany's like a little confused and mad because she's like, you never even gave me the choice, like just expect me to come with you. And it's like, I haven't even thought about if I want to come or not. Jax pulls the guys aside at some point and he tells them about it because he's like, you know what, you guys have Tom Tom, I don't have anything, so this is like my big thing, right? And back at the table, Brittany's telling the girls about it, and the girls are like, well, you know, that's absolutely not fair because like after everything that he put you through, he just expects you to like go with him, right? So Jax and the guys come back to the table, and Ari actually sticks up for Britt. She's like, Jax, you know, have you even asked her like what she wants and stuff like that? And Jax gets like, he didn't really consider it. And then they ask Brittany, like, Brittany, what do you want? And she's like, you know, I want to do what I went to school for. She basically like tests Jax. Jax is like, oh, you know, I don't know how it happened, but Jax was like, oh, you know, like what is it? What do you want? And Brittany's like, you know what I want. And Jax is like, yeah, obviously I do, but I forgot, like, remind me. And the entire table knows what it is. So it's like, it kind of shows that Jax didn't really care. And like, all the girls are defending Brittany, which I absolutely love. And Lala and Kristen actually say, you know, this is a partnership. Like, you need to consider her feelings also. Starts a big fight, but I am happy that, like, you know, if Jax wasn't gonna like give Brittany the time, like give time to Brittany to even like think about it before bringing it up, I'm kind of happy that it got brought up in a way where it's like people are able to defend her. So moving on to episode 16. So we have the aftermath of this fight. The gang like splits up. We have the girls who go skinny dipping in the ocean. They go have fun. And then the guys go back to Jax's room. Jax is telling them, you know what, even if Brittany doesn't come, I'm still gonna take it. It's an amazing opportunity for me, but I don't think that Brittany is gonna come. You know, it's kind of like annoying me because he didn't even give Brittany the chance to be like, do I want this? Do I not? He just assumed she was going to come. I'd like to think that they're going to talk about it in a later episode. We will see. Then at some point in the night, Stassi goes to Katie and Tom's room and she's like, I cannot do it anymore. I can't be in the room with Kristen. I came back. There was smoke everywhere. Kristen was freaking out over being abroad. And Stassi was like, I just needed to get out of this place. So she stays with them and like, she does feel a little bit better. And the following day, the gang goes to the water park. So Stassi does bring up the whole thing with Kristen, and then Kristen is like turning it on Stassi. Kristen is like, you're always throwing tantrums when you're drunk, like you have to learn how to talk with people. And then Stassi's like, this literally happens every time that you travel. Yeah, you travel again. And it's like, learn how to control yourself. And then Kristen is like, learn how to talk with people. So they're both like, you know, I don't want to argue. I don't want to have this conversation. And they agree to just like walk away from each other. So James actually pulls Jax and he tells Jax, Sheena is trying to set up Brittany with Adam, right? So we jump back to when the gang is getting ready for that night, and Jax and Brittany have a conversation about it. So Jax brings up, hey, you know, this is what James told me, like, is there any truth to it? And then Brittany's like, oh, you know, like, Sheena did tell me that he thought it was cute when we weren't dating, and then we did go out, all of us as a group, but like nothing came of it, right? And Brittany's like unsure if Jax is gonna like start something big about it at dinner. But anyways, at dinner, we have Jax who's like, oh, Sandoval, do you want to go to the bathroom? So at first Sandoval is like confused, and it's like Brittany can tell like what's gonna happen, but Jax tells Sandoval what happened. And then back at the table, actually, we have James who opens up about like how he was bullied in the past, and it actually like, kind of like breaks my heart because in England it was so bad, it was like verbal and it actually got physical. They left the UK, came to the US, and James basically went from the person that no one wanted to be around, no one wanted to be friends with, to this cool kid who has a British accent. So it kind of like does make you feel bad for him because it kind of like obviously doesn't excuse, but it kind of explains why he's the way that he is today. And you can even see Kristen having a bit of sympathy for him, right? So actually very wholesome that he felt comfortable to share it with the gang. And then the guys get back. They obviously bring up what Sheena like said, was like trying to do and stuff like that. Sheena's defending herself, saying, I just wanted Brittany to be happy, to get her confidence back, to like show her that like, you know, she is such an amazing person, like give her a little spark back. And they kind of go back and forth, they keep on arguing, and Brittany keeps on reiterating, nothing came of it, nothing happened. The fight continues, and then Jax is just like, oh, you know, well, if she was gonna leave me, she would have left me a long time ago. Sometimes, I honestly, I don't know how Lisa does it. I cannot deal with this man. I truly cannot deal with this man as a viewer. I can't. Episode 17. So episode 17 is a little bit messy. So it starts off with Katie, Kristen, and Stassi at the beach. And then Katie's like, oh, you know, when Tom came back from golfing, he told me that James and Kristen hooked up. And then we get a flashback to the night before. So you remember how, I mean, I literally said it like 10 seconds ago, but you remember how Kristen was kind of like feeling sympathy for James, right? They went to a club after having dinner. They started like her and James started talking, and James was like, you know, I actually really like talking with you. And Stassi was like, this is weird because like they hate each other, but they've been talking for a while. So like, what's happening? And then in the morning, the camera pans to Peter and James's room. James is not in his bed. It pans to Stassi and Kristen's room. Kristen is not in her bed. And then we go to Brittany and Jax's room. They briefly talk about what happened the night before, but then Jax is like, I woke up at like 7. Kristen, Schwartz, and James were still there. You know, Kristen was outside. James came inside, grabbed a bottle of tequila, and then went back out. He basically reenacts what he saw, and then he shows Britt, like, when he woke up again for the second time, he just saw the pillows by the jacuzzi. So what exactly happened? So the guys go golfing. It is an absolute mess. So Peter is actually really not that bad. But then Jax and Sandoval are absolutely destroying the grass. James is like driving the golf cart where you're not supposed to be driving your golf cart. And Schwartz is just like drinking happily in his own little bubble drinking. Then James is like in his own corner drinking. And the rest of the guys have a little conversation. So Jax tells them what he experienced, right? He's like, you know, Kristen was there. James came in, grabbed the vodka, went back out, decided that he was going to sleep at this place. Then after that, all the guys minus James have a little conversation. So Jax tells them what he saw and the whole experience with Kristen and the jacuzzi. So Sandoval actually pulls James and he's like, oh, did you hang out with Kristen? James is like, kind of, but not really. What are we supposed to make of that? But then Jax picks up the pillows and James suddenly starts getting very defensive. So did it happen? Did it not? We don't know. But then we go to Brittany and Sheena who are getting massages. And we find out that the night before, Lala actually asked them, oh, do you think that James and Kristen would hook up? So was Lala kind of feeling something? I don't know. But Brittany actually tells Sheena, you know, what Jax told her. So after their massages, they end up meeting with Ari and Lala, and Brittany tells them what Jax told her. So Lala Lala thinks it happened. Ari's like, I don't know how I feel about that. Then we go back to where the episode started, and Kristen is being very defensive, but Stassi's like, you know, is it possible that maybe you blacked out, you didn't remember? Kristen gets super mad. She's like, I would never cheat on Carter. But then Stassi's like, you know, you were so defensive, you were so affirmative, I guess you can say, that you didn't sleep with Jax when I was dating him, but you did. And then when you started dating Carter, you're so adamant that you did not sleep with James, but it ended up being true. So it's like, how am I supposed to believe you? Which I feel like is very fair. She does not really have the best track record, but then would she sleep with James? I don't know. part of me believes it, part of me doesn't. I don't know. By this time, the whole gang gets to the beach minus James. And we find out that Schwartz was so drunk, he ended up at another resort. So people are like, how did you even get to another resort? And how do you even realize you at another resort? So apparently Schwartz had asked like the workers there, and then they realized he was at the wrong resort, so they drove him back. And it's like, how drunk do you have to be that you end up at another resort? So Katie obviously is not happy, and she's like, you know what, you are cut off from alcohol today. Because what is this? Respectfully, what is this? Then we have Peter, who goes back to his room, and he asks James about what Jax told him. And then Jax is like, oh, no, sorry. And then James was like, oh, you know, Jax just like ruining people's relationships. He like getting in the middle of people's things. So very defensive. Did it happen? Did it not? We will find out. So the episode ends with the gang going out for a dinner. So Sandoval gives a little toast to Tom Tom almost being completed. And he invites the gang to a little like, not opening party, but it's like, okay, this is actually happening. Let's celebrate party. And then Kristen is like, you know what, I'm gonna give a toast also. So she brings up James lying to people saying that they slept together. James gets like very defensive. He's like, it did not happen. And it starts a big fight. Kristen throws water, supposed to hit him, hits Lala. So Lala gets pissed also. Starts a massive fight. And then the episode ends. So episode 18, we jump right into the aftermath. We have James in the corner calling Raquel, and he's like crying. He's like, they're making this up. I didn't do it. Sandoval goes up to him. So James is like, you know what, Raquel, like, I'll call you later. We can talk about it when I'm in my room. And Sandoval basically asked him like, okay, what exactly happened? Because at this point, Sandoval is kind of convinced that he did it. So James explains, he says that everyone left and then it was just Kristen, Schwartz, and him in the jacuzzi area. Schwartz actually wanted to go, where is he? On a little bike ride. So they went to the beach for 20 minutes and they came back and went to their respective rooms. And then Sandoval is like, is it possible that you might not remember something that you blacked out? James gets very offended and like storms off. So Stassi, Kate, and Kristen are having a talk, and both the girls are actually like very sad because they're like, Kristen, what is this? Why are you doing this? And Kristen's getting very defensive, saying that she didn't do it and it's better to throw a drink instead of a punch, which I guess fair. But then Katie is like, you're literally making the situation worse for yourself, and Stassi agrees. And it actually makes Katie so sad because she's like, Kristen, you need to stop. But Kristen, I don't know, I guess this is how she wants to defend herself. But anyway, the gang makes it back to LA, and then Kristen actually goes out with Carter, and she tells Carter basically her version of the story and of what happened. And Carter is mad because he's like, you know what, you did hook up with James when we started dating, so it's like, how am I supposed to know if it's a lie or not this time? And why would you even put yourself in a situation where these rumors could arise? Which I think is a very fair point that he brought. Like, Carter is like literally the voice of reason in this cast. But yeah, so I feel like Carter is like debating, do I trust Kristen or no? Because she does not have the best track record, right? So Carter's feeling a little conflicted. Katie, she did take a break from Pucker Pound last summer for her wedding, but she's like, you know what? We're gonna go full force. We're gonna get back into Pucker and Pound. So she asked Stassi to help plan her little party, and they end up talking about Kristen. And then Stassi's like, you know, she's being so defensive about it. This is exactly how she was when something happened with Jax the first time and then happened with James. I don't know if this is just a rumor, if this is actually the truth. At work, Jax goes up to Adam and he asks, do you like my girlfriend? Adam is like, no. And then Jax is basically telling him like what he heard from Sheena, and then Adam's like, you know what, Sheena did plan this. She wanted me to get to know Brittany, but nothing happened. We went out as friends. And then Jax tells him, you know, I don't have anything against you. Like, you know, I know that you didn't do anything bad. I'm mainly mad at Sheena, right? So he goes inside, finds Sheena, and he says, like, I feel like you're just scheming to break us up. And Sheena once again defends herself, saying she wanted to give Kristen, oh my god, Britta confidence boost. Very close by, we have Ari and James who are talking, and Ari asks, you know, why were the pillows outside? Because that is like a little bit sus. And then James is like, you know, I told Jax I wanted to sleep outside, but then people are like, you know, that's not exactly what Jax told us. So James is defending himself. You have Sheena and Jax are having their own little thing. Then Jax and James go at it. And this is where it really explodes. They go off at each other, screaming, causing an absolute mess. Lisa comes in to intervene, but Jax is being very rude, like basically causing a season 1 type of like chaotic scene, I guess you can put it that way. Ken joins, and then Lisa, I don't know why I'm pointing here, Ken's on the board, but Ken actually joins, and Lisa can't kick him out. But Jax doesn't want to leave. Like, he's not not ready to leave. He still has fight left in him. Sandoval has to come to try to help get Jax out. And then Jax starts arguing with Sandoval. They step outside. They continue arguing in front of the restaurant. And then at some point, Jax like walks off. And Sandoval is like, dude, come on, like, what is this? Everyone is like in shock because it's like, Jax, you literally just turned 38. Please grow up. Please, please, please grow up. So in episode 19, we have Brittany the next day who goes up to Lisa and who apologizes for Jax's behavior. And Lisa's like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, you don't have to apologize. But then she also asks, like, what are you guys fighting for this time? Like, what's the goal that you want to achieve with this argument? And Brittany's like, you know, I'm not the type of person who can walk away from it. I'm the type of person who we have to work on things. I give people second chances. And then Lisa's like, how many chances does he need? And Brittany's like, I don't know. Like, she can't answer. And I feel like it's kind of heartbreaking, right? So on the side, we have Stassi. Stassi who's talking with Katie about the party. And Katie's like, you know, after what Jax did last night, he's not invited. And then she asked Stassi, you know, is Patrick gonna come? And Stassi's like, yeah, you know, he probably could, but I don't think he will. And then she starts talking about problems that they had because she wasn't answering him in Mexico. So basically, she was not on her phone because she was enjoying her time with her friends. And she didn't text Patrick for a full day. And he never let her live that down. He was like dangling it against her, holding it against her. Oh my God. Holding it against her, and she's kind of annoyed because she's like, you know, I want him to be there because these are events with my friends. I want him to come. I want him to be involved. But why won't he just let this go? When literally, can we just mention that he blocked her? He blocked her when he went to Amsterdam, and he expects her to just like text him back immediately when she's in Mexico. I just thought of that. I'm like, no, no, I don't like that. I do not like that. So the party looks great. Everyone's having a good time. And Carter is actually talking with Sandoval and Peter. Topic of James comes up, right? So Carter is like, why didn't any of you guys defend her with these rumors? Because you've been friends for so long. But then Sandoval is like, hey, you know, I've been there before. I did not think she could have slept with Jax. I did not think it was even possible. But then it ended up being true. So Carter goes, talks to Kristen. And then he's like, hey, oh my God, I dropped my pen again. And he's like, hey, you know, why does the story keep changing? Kristen is defending herself. And then Carter's like, you know, you don't have the best track record. Like, you've done this before. I don't know if I can believe you. And that's basically where we're left off with this like argument. We don't know what happens next. We have Patrick who goes over to Stassi's and he's just like awkward. He brings up this like Game of Thrones reference to show Stassi to stop like making everything about her and stop being selfish. It's just like every time we see him, something is set off in me. I do not like him. He's icky. He's weird. And Stassi isn't herself around him. It's Stassi on her face. You can tell she's done with this conversation. And it's like, I don't know, all his comments. He even made comments about, what was it? I don't know, something about consistency. And then he's like, oh, you think that this like dressing or sauce on this pasta is consistent? And it's like, it was just very weird. I did not like it. But then, oh my God. This is a moment I had no idea what's coming. We have Britt and Jax in their apartment having a conversation, right? Jax is like, he opens a conversation saying that he's not really keep in mind, they slept together that morning. He's like, I haven't really been happy with myself for a while. You deserve the best, but I'm not the person who can give it to you. And I think we need to stop seeing each other so I can work on myself. And Brittany's like, where is this coming from? Like, you know, I'm trying to be there for you. I'm trying to help you. I've put up with so much of your shit. Why are you doing this now? Like, where the hell is this coming from? He just says he needs to be alone. And then Brittany, you know, she does bring up how, like, what he put her through. And then Jax is like, oh, you had to stop making it about you. And he gets mad at her. And obviously Brittany gets pissed because it's like, you know, breaking up is one thing, but it's like, she literally put up with so much and you're like, oh, don't make it about you. They both get mad. Brittany kicks him out, but before he can leave, she's like, you know what? I don't want to see you. I'm out. And that's where the episode ends. I mean, on one hand, we're like, is this good? I really hope it doesn't last. I mean, no, I hope it lasts. I hope it lasts. I hope they do not get back together. I want Brittany to end up with Adam. I want her to end up with Adam. They look so cute together. And he seems like a healthy guy. Like, girl, we need to stop dating Jax Taylor. Oh my God. So episode 20 opens up with Jax going over to Tom and Katie's. And he's like, I just broke up with Brittany. So the two are just like, oh, you know, it's just not like, it's just going to be a 1 week thing. And it's like, you know, after a week, you're going to be back together. And Jax is like, no, you know, I need to work on myself. This is it. This is done. And then Lala goes to Sir to think, I oh my god, to I think get like a paycheck or something from Lisa, and Lisa actually gives her a pair of boots for her performance, so I think it's super cute. But Lala, she's so stressed about it, so anxious. She breaks down. Lisa gives her a pep talk, and I'm so excited to see her perform. I like how Sheena, is super into it, but I feel like Lala, something in me is like, I think Lala, it's more up her alley. Then we have Ari, Tom, Jeremy, and Billy who have a little double date. And you know how at the beginning, Ari was like, we're not spending enough time together, we're not seeing each other enough, so I cannot be comfortable. They have a little double date, so Ari is super happy. But then Short texts Sandoval saying that Jax broke up with Brittany, and he's like, I don't know if it's gonna last, but he's staying at a hotel, and I'm gonna go see him. So Ari's annoyed because she's like, just because Jax did something stupid, like, yeah, he's your friend, but it's something super, super dumb. You're leaving to go spend time with him when it's like, we literally had a conversation on how I need like more from you to feel comfortable, and this is our first date in like forever, and you're going. Tom, you can see he's like struggling, because I get like, I get that Jax did break up with Brittany and it's a big thing, but then also Ariana and him, like, it's literally their first date in a while. But at the end, he decides to go be there for Jax. So Brittany actually brings one of her childhood friends over to Kristen's, and they start talking about it. Brittany's like, I'm not okay, but I'm in shock, but I can't continue living like this. Like, I can't keep doing it with Jax. And then I think it was Kristen who briefly brings up Adam, and the Brittany's like, oh, I DM'd him, gave him my number, and I was like, text me. So that did make me very happy, because Brittany is now officially single, and maybe, who knows, something could happen between Adam and Brittany. Then we actually have Ari and Sandoval who want to take the next step in their relationship. They're looking for houses, and the realtor shows them a house. It looks super cute, but then the realtor asks, oh, what's the plan for kids? And Ari, you can tell in her face, she's a little like uncomfortable. They continue looking at the house. It's them two having a private conversation, and Ari is like, if we're doing this, you need to be present more. Like, you cannot just run off to Jax whenever he does something dumb. Like, you do have to set boundaries, which I think is a very fair thing, and I'm kind of happy that Ari like put her foot down. I was like, you have to set boundaries with this man, because he's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so love that for Ari. So this brings us to Lala's show. She's very anxious, very nervous. Jax doesn't come because he knows he's like not welcome there, and she performs. Wow, just wow. You can tell she feels at home on the stage. Sheena feels like it was a fun thing. Lala's like, she wants to take this seriously. Her style, the performance, the songs, I was so impressed. And she didn't want to admit that she did want like validation from the group, but she was like, I'm so happy that I'm sitting here with everyone. All these people came to see me. And she actually has a heart-to-heart with James, and she's like, she's not crying, but she tears up. She's like, you are the one who gave me the confidence to be here today. If it wasn't for you, I would never have done this, which I think is like really cute, because Lala's having her moment. There has been growth, and I'm very proud of her. And also, at this party, we have Brittany and Adam who are talking together, being a little bit flirty, and the episode ends with Jax going to therapy. So initially he wanted to go see his Reiki therapist, but she's in Africa, so he goes to traditional therapy, and he's like, I don't know how to be in a relationship. Like, it's my fault. I caused this. I want what's best for Brittany. I want her to be happy. I want her to have someone who can give her what she wants. I'm not happy with this decision. I don't know if it's what I want. So after this, I'm praying I do not start season 7 and they're back together. I'm actually gonna be so mad. Episode 21 opens up with the little, not opening party, but a little tom-tom party. When the girls are getting ready, Brittany actually tells them, like, she told Jax, yes, move out from the apartment, but Jax wants to move to another room in the same building, and it's like, you were so set on moving to Florida, but now you want to say, and it's like, what kind of a sicko move is basically like neighbors with this person? It's like, this is absolutely crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And yeah, what happened to Florida? But anyways, we get to the Tom Tom party. So Sandoval, I find this actually like really funny. So Sandoval went to this like bar, restaurant, club like convention in Vegas, and they had this like, I don't know what to call it. It's like a machine where you pour a shot in like a spoon and it freezes it. So it's like a popsicle shot, I guess you can say. Nowhere in the US has it. We're the only place. So he preps it for Lisa, and at first Lisa is like skeptical. They're all kind of nervous, but Lisa's like, it tastes so good. This is exactly why you're here. And he basically showcases all the cocktails. Lisa loves it. Lisa is very happy. So absolute success. I really hope that episode 7 we see Tom Tom, because I am so curious to know what it looks like. So Lisa actually gives her own little speech and very wholesome. Like she's truly really proud of these guys and I thought it was a very cute moment. And we have the after party at Sir. So you have Brittany and Adam who are talking very cozy. They've been texting for a bit and I love it. I love the smile on her face. I love it. I love it. I love it. So James actually goes up to Ken and Lisa. I don't know what he wants to say, but Ken is like, you know, I've seen growth in you. I'm so proud of you. This is a little something for you. And he hands him an envelope with, we don't know how much money, but it looks like a lot of money. James is like super, super appreciative of it. Ken leaves and then Lisa gives her own speech, how she's like super proud of him. And she offers him his job back in Sir. Am I kind of scared because he did have his volatile moments this season? Yes, but I do have hope. I do have hope. I think there was maybe some growth. And the fact that Lisa's giving him his job back, I feel like Lisa kind of sees it also. So finally, we have a party where Patrick attends. So Stassi's like, you know, I want to introduce you to Lisa. So it actually turns out when Lisa was in New York for like something, Patrick is a radio show host and they kind of like met in passing, right? But when Stassi brings him to talk with Lisa, he's acting weird, he's making weird comments, and then Stassi's like, you know, I feel like I just have to explain how he talks. You know, how he talks is why I love him. He's so sarcastic and things like that. And then Lisa's like, are you drunk? And you can tell that it's not Stassi, like the person who we see, it's not the Stassi who we know. And it's like, yeah, she grew up, she's more mature, but it's like, this is not the Stassi we see in other places. And Lisa clocks it also. Patrick kind of comes to her defense and he's like, Lisa, it's like kind of rude. It was just a very awkward like everyone in that interaction, I'm sure felt like a little bit awkward. And Lisa actually talks to Katie about it. And Lisa's like, you know, I feel like the guys who Stassi dates bring her down because she's not the same person that she is without them. Katie kind of tries to defend Stassi and Patrick, but you can tell even on Katie's face, like she does recognize that there is a pretty big change in Stassi. But anyways, going on to the juicy things, Brittany decides to pull Jax away from the Toms to have a conversation. So Brittany is just like calling him out on everything. She's like, you need to be gone so I can get over you. Calls him out on everything he did and says it's absolutely crazy that you're moving across the hall. You're an absolute psychopath. It's just psychotic behavior. Like no one does that. He's acting as if it's like, oh, you know, Brittany, I was protecting you throughout everything. And Brittany's like, no, you know, I was literally paying half the bills. Calls him disgusting, calls him delusional. Basically just like really puts him in his place. And I am begging, do not get back with this man. Please do not get back with this man. I'm gonna be so mad. I am gonna be so mad. I feel like you can probably tell on my face when I filmed season 7 if they got back together because I am not gonna be happy about it. So we get a little bit more awkwardness between Stassi and Patrick. So they're sitting at a table and Patrick's like, okay, so can we leave now? And you can tell that Stassi doesn't really want to go, but she's like, okay, you know, if Patrick wants to leave, I'm gonna leave. Lisa comes up to them and she's like, you know, I feel like I kind of have to defend myself. I was like messing around because the first time that you met me, you were like, oh, what did he say? He was like, the first time I saw you, you turn around and I like the view, right? So she's like, I just have to clarify that this was like me messing with you. And she's like, you know, by the way, I didn't mind that because she thought he was talking about like her looks, but he's like, oh yeah, I was talking about your ass. Lisa and Stassi's face, it's like, that's weird. And it's like Patrick keeps on digging in the grave for himself. And Lisa, like, she has this conversation in front of, like, both of them. She's like, you know, I just want Stassi to find someone who's gonna treat her right and, like, make her happy. And then Patrick is like, well, why are you having this conversation in front of me? And they kind of go back and forth. And for some reason, he doesn't stop mentioning her ass, which is weird. And then when Lisa goes away, Stassi's like, if you're gonna break up with me, please don't let it be because of tonight. And it's so heartbreaking because, like, she deserves so much better. I hope she gets rid of Patrick in season 7 because her and Brittany deserve so much better. Going to the last little thing of the season, Lisa, well actually Jax tried to talk with Lisa at Tom Tom, but then Lisa was like, I'm not having this conversation with you, I'm having it when I'm ready to have it. So Lisa pulls him. So we know some shit is about to go down. Jax starts by apologizing and Lisa's mad because she's like, how many chances do I have to give you? You are disrespectful, you are rude, like how many times? Jax is like, you know, I know that I wreck people's lives and stuff like that. And Lisa's like, you know, this is what he does. This is how he is with girls. How do I know that he's not playing with me right now? So then Jax is like, Lisa, please just accept my apology. And Lisa's like, okay, well, if I do, where do we go from there? And Jax is like, you know, if you want to fire me, you can fire me. That sets Lisa off because she's like, you know what? I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of firing you so you can go act as a victim in front of your friends. She basically gives him a reality check and she's like, you know what, you should have done the decent thing from the start. You should have handed in your resignation. So at the end of the conversation, Jax is like, you know what, okay, I'm gonna stop working for you. I mean, I did like how he ended by apologizing for what he put her through over the course of many years, but it's also like, I've never seen Lisa mad, like just mad to this extent than she is with you. So Jax ends up leaving. Lisa, well, like how the season ends is that Lisa goes up to James, basically taps him on the side and is like, you know, I might be looking for a new bartender soon. James is like, what? And that's where it ends. So I think we are led to assume that James would be the bartender. I don't know. I'm actually so intrigued to see where season 7 will be. But yes, I swear if I come back and my face is not very like live, laugh, love, you probably know that someone did something dumb in season 1 and I'm dreading having to talk about it. For the record, it's been 2 weeks since I filmed season 6. I don't think I really thought through what I was going to do with my iPad and the mic because now I'm like, I can't be holding 2 things. Like, I can't be holding my iPad in one hand and my mic in the other hand. So we're going to rest my iPad over here. If I'm ever looking down, you can probably, yeah, you can see it. This is where my iPad is because I do not have everything memorized. But anyways, let's move on to episode 1. So, you remember how last time I was like, if Britt and Jax get back together, like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm actually gonna be so mad. Why do you think Britt and Jax are next to each other? They end up getting back together, but we're gonna see that there was some change. Honestly, there was some change. It wasn't just like Brittany is like turning a blind eye. We did have an actually like surprising amount of growth in Jax, so that's like amazing. They also have a new apartment, which we love. And Jax is basically saying like, yeah, Florida was a great opportunity, but he was like, you know, I'm getting older. I would rather have the dream girl than the dream job. So they kind of like talked things out, worked together. And yeah, they're getting a new apartment. So that's great because like Britt says he really did like step up since last year. So you're like, okay, cute, fun, we love that. But then on a See You Next Tuesday, like the week before the first episode started, James, he's like freestyling, he's having fun. And he makes this like little rap where he kind of like, not even alludes, he like fully says, oh, like, do we remember when like Jax slept with Faith? So obviously Brittany is like gnarly happy about it because like she finished work, she could have gone home, but she was like, no, you know, I'm gonna go over to, I guess like the bar side, not the restaurant side. I'm gonna go over there, supports James. She was like literally in front of the booth and then he goes to do that and it's like, you know, like it's not nice. Like she literally came to support you and you're kind of like being an asshole. We also end up finding out that things have been rough for most people. So Lisa, her brother actually passed away. We have Jax, whose dad actually passed away. And then Lala also, whose dad actually passed away. So we kind of see so just like the aftermath of this like be revisited throughout the season. And then the last big piece of like information before we really get into it is that, where is she? Sheena and Rob ended up breaking up. Also, Stassi and Patrick ended up breaking up. And Patrick actually broke up with her on their 4-year anniversary. Which like, I'm happy that Patrick is gone, but also, So Brittany has her shift at Sir. Jax comes to drop her off and he's like, you know what, let's go inside and let me talk to James because what he did was not cool. So he talks with James. James apologizes, but Jax is like, you know, your apologies mean nothing to me because you always apologize, you always seem super remorseful, but then you go back to doing the exact same thing all over again. So he's like, you know, fine, I'll take it, whatever, but just know it means nothing to me and you're not invited to anything that we're planning, like any of our events throughout the entire summer. So Jax actually goes out for drinks with Schwartz, Stassi, and then this guy right here, Beau. So we find out after Patrick broke up with Stassi, she started dating Beau. Just like the first time that you're seeing him, you can tell he just, wow, just worlds apart from like all the other guys, like an actual empathetic human being. We also find out that his mom is a relationship therapist. Definitely, I'm sure played a role, but literally, wow. Like going from Patrick to that, absolute wow. But yeah, so Jax goes out with all of them and Stassi actually says like, you know, I really did realize that compared to last year, there was so much growth in you and honestly, like I'm impressed. So, you know, like if Stassi is commenting on it, like there was really a big change. And after Jax is like, oh, by the way, I'm going to be proposing to Brittany like within the next week. And the whole gang is like, oh my God. And honestly, at first I was like, I do not like this. I think it should not be happening. Again, throughout the season, we actually, you know, obviously it's still Jax Taylor. He still like has his little issues, but honestly, you can actually like as a viewer, you can see the growth and honestly, like it makes you so happy. What else we have going on? we have Lala. You guys remember how she was like dating like an older like married guy, so his divorce fell through. No, not fell through, his divorce got like finalized, so she can now talk about him. His name is Randall. He's movie producer. He works in the movie industry, and we're gonna see he like cast her in the movies. But yeah, so that's happening. So love that for Lala. She can actually like have a conversation about it, and like you can tell now like she actually talks so much more, and I feel like she is getting closer with the girls because she can actually talk about her relationship. So honestly, super like, you know, I'm happy for her. Okay, so Tom Tom, let's talk a bit about Tom Tom. We have Lisa and Ken who meets with Schwartz and Sandoval. The guys, like, they've been going at it, making their cocktails, having fun, but Lisa's like, you know, yeah, you guys have like big plans, you guys are showing me a lot, but like I need a concrete list because like we're opening a restaurant. I need to know like what's gonna be on the menu. So she tasked the guys with getting her that list. After that meeting, the Toms end up going with Jax to go get a ring. Honestly, Schwartz is like all for it. Sandoval is a bit like, you know, I'm not like super convinced about it because your dad did pass away like really, really soon. And I don't know if this is just like maybe a coping mechanism, you know, I don't know if it's like trauma bond that you had with her or like what exactly is going on. But Jax like started talking and he was like, she helps me through it a lot. I just wanted to level up for her, which, you know, at first I was like, I do not know how I feel because it's obviously Jax Sailor. Just having him be, I guess, more like self-aware, we love that. But yeah, he has that conversation. Sandoval is still a bit like iffy about it, but he's like starting to warm up to the idea. So you remember how I said that Jax had passed? So he got a lot of money and he's using that for the ring, and he gets the most beautiful ring for Brittany. Like, you just know that she's gonna love it. And then the episode ends with a Jax taking Brittany out. It's not like the fanciest place, but you can tell it's a place that means a lot to them. It's this like not fast food, but like seafood place, like near the water. He proposes, so cute, love it, amazing. That's where the episode ends. Episode 2, they go back to their apartment, and you know, Jax wanted to surprise Brittany, so he tasked the Toms and Stassi to make a little party. Super cute, super fun, we absolutely love it. The next day, the gang is getting ready for Pride at SUR. So we have, where are they? We have Ari, Sheena, and oh my god, and Lala, who go shopping to find their outfits. It's 80s theme. Ari kind of like sees how Tom sees it. She's like, you know, I don't know if I'm fully, like, obviously I'm supportive of Brittany because I love her, but I don't know if I'm fully like convinced, let's say that. I don't know if I'm fully convinced if it's just like a short-term thing, if it's gonna change because things are still like so fresh with his dad. They kind of like talk about it, but then they end up moving on to the topic of Coachella. James, obviously, he's still like, it's still James Kennedy. So Lala's like, oh, you know, at Coachella, obviously Raquel was there, Randall was there, and James is like, oh, you know, like we all know each other inside and out, and basically like alluding to the fact that they did sleep together, when it's like that was literally like one time and like years ago. He's with his girlfriend, Lala is with her boyfriend. You don't bring it up. So, you know, Lala, obviously she's not like super like not really happy about that. And then the girls are like, talk to him, but like try to like, you know, come like even temper, because you know James is gonna like blow up, but like you do need to talk to him about this. So while they're doing that, we have Stassi who goes over to, oh my god, where are they? It goes over to Kristen's, and they both acknowledge that there has been a change in Jax. So, you know, like these people seeing it actually shows, okay, like something did happen. And then we're going back to the topic of Coachella. I should have put her picture here, but like she only shows up in like 2-3 episodes. We have Kristen's friend Hope, who went to Coachella with that little gang, and she says that when Raquel went off to bed, her and James had hooked up like outside of the room. So think back to the whole Sandoval, Jax, Kristen situation. That's kind of what Kristen was hinting at. And she's like, you know, Hope has been going back and forth from LA to like wherever else she's living. They have been hooking up for a while. And it's like, you know, obviously Jax admitted when he cheated, right? Like, I don't want to say James did it or James didn't do it because he never admitted to it. But then it's also like, if there's so many people saying that, you have your doubts, you know? Will we ever find out if James cheated? Any of these? Oh my god, give me a second. Okay, let's hope it doesn't fall again. Will we ever find out if James did cheat? I do not know. We will see. There's still a few more seasons to go, so literally anything can happen. We have Jax who actually goes over to Lisa to, I wouldn't say beg, but just like, you know, ask for his job back. And Lisa's like, you know, you always do confront James at work. Rehiring you is kind of like a hazard, right? Because because I never know like what you're gonna do. Jax is like, you know, I changed. I know that I've changed. Please like give me the chance to prove myself. And Lisa's like, you know, honestly, like through other people, I did hear things. I did see that you changed. So she's like, you know what, we can do a test run. Like, I'll hire you back for Pride and then we're gonna see where things go from there. But like, you know, she actually, like throughout this episode, she actually sees this change in Jax and she's like surprised. Everyone is surprised. Everyone is shocked. Jax is like slowly building his life back up and seeing the growth. I mean, I really hope nothing happens after, because that is sad and Brittany deserves so much better. So much better. So Aria and Tom actually go to dinner at James and Raquel's and, you know, they bring up what happened. James, it's like, you know, he's sorry because like he doesn't want to like lose his job. He doesn't want to lose his friends. They also get to the topic about marriage and kids and just like getting engaged. You can tell that Aris is like very, very uncomfortable. So she, like her mind hasn't really changed throughout the season. She's still been like super, super closed off to that. Even though she loves Tom, you know, at some points you could see that maybe she was like opening up to the idea. But I feel like at the base, she's very like, no, just no. So now we have Pride. Pride is an absolute mess. So Kristen ends up bringing Hope and their plan is to go confront James about it, but they end up running into Raquel first. Obviously, they talk to Raquel, tell her what happened, but Raquel doesn't believe it and she also asks, okay, like why did you wait so long to bring this up? Like why are you only bringing it up now that Kristen is involved? Which, you know, I can see her point of view because Kristen has that side of her, so I get where Raquel is coming from, but I feel like she's also starting to have her doubts. Who was it? It was Gigi and that other girl, then it was, no, not Faith. But Gigi, that other girl, I'm pretty sure there was someone else. And now Hope, I'm like, Raquel, please, like, leave him, please. So Raquel then goes, finds James, and she's like, you know, did this happen? Because this is what people are telling me. And James is like, I would never do that to you. I love you. Like, I want to marry you someday. I would never do this. You know, Raquel does believe him, but she's getting annoyed because she's like, you know, I'm tired of always having to defend you. Like, she really breaks down and starts crying because she's like, it feels like I'm getting attacked for defending you, for being with you when like it's not even my fault. Which I totally get that, but it's like, I know you love him, but if it's so many people, I'm like, girl, please. So Stassi actually introduces Lisa to Beau, and Lisa, you can tell she loves Beau. She's like, I see you, you're shining, you're vibrant, you have your spark back. This is what it's supposed to feel like. So I really, really hope that these two last, because compared to everyone else, I truly love Beau. Absolutely love him. But yeah, so after that, we have Raquel, Lala, and Sheena who are talking outside. James comes, interrupts, like cuts in. He's a little bit like agitated. He has to talk with Lala privately, and basically they kind of like get into a little argument. He calls her a bitch, then he walks off, and you still have the girls there. And Lala's like, you know, Raquel, like I was here the entire time you were at school. I saw that he was like hanging out with Hope a lot. You know, something did happen. But Raquel is like, you know, I don't trust Hope. I don't know. It's like, I don't want to make like speculations because obviously I do not know these people. I don't know what they're going through. I just hope that Raquel doesn't end up like getting hurt in the future. That's all that I hope for. Then you have Sandoval who ends up talking with James, and James defends himself. He's like, this never happened. I didn't do it. But Tom is like, there have been many allegations. So, you know, why are so many people saying things if nothing happened? Like, he has his doubts, but alas, that's the end of episode 2. Episode 3. We're still, like, in the Pride, like, situation. We have Raquel who goes back to talk with Hope, and she's like, please, like, break down for me absolutely everything that happened. So Hope actually says that Coachella was a tiny thing, because for the past 3 years, they have been hooking up. Obviously, like, Raquel, she's not in, like, a good mood. James comes in, James is getting emotional, James is calling people things. And it's like, even people not involved in this, like, he starts, like, fast shaming Katie. He calls Lala horrible names. Just, like, the worst of James Kennedy is coming out. And then Raquel and him just, like, end up walking off. No one was, like, left without, like, a rude comment. So the next day, Peter, who, like, he was planning his birthday, Peter actually calls James and he's like, based off what happened last night, I don't want you at my party. I'm sorry, but you're uninvited. And this actually happens when James is at home with Raquel. And Raquel is like, please, you have to stop drinking because like I can't keep on defending you. And I want to be friends with these people. I don't have many friends in LA. You being like this means that people don't want to be friends with me. So it's like, if you don't want to change for yourself, if you don't want to make your life easier, fix your relationships, please at least do it for me. So now we go to Peter and Carter's joint birthday party. So the reason why I put Adam over here is because Sheena is dating. Okay. they're best friends, but like they're dating. Like everyone knows that they're dating. We have Ariana and Stassi who suddenly became like besties, and they're like, you know what? Every single year, you have your birthday, I have mine. It causes a drift between our friends. This year, since we're going well, let's do a joint birthday party, which I would have never thought I would have seen a joint birthday between these two. But honestly, absolutely love that for them. And then also at the party, Peter pulls Jax aside and he's like, you know what, bud? You got your job back, so love that for Jax. So the girls end up having a girls' night, and Britt is like, you know what? I want to invite Raquel because I feel bad for her. So the girls are vibing, they're having fun. Then when Raquel comes, we have, where are they? Oh my god. We have Katie, Stassi, and Kristen who all leave. And Ariana and Britt are talking with Raquel, and they're like, you know, we just want to make sure that you're okay. This is not in any way an attack. We just want to know that you're doing fine. Raquel kind of starts opening up about Pride, and she's like, you know, James doesn't really remember a lot that he said. So the girls are like, okay, you know, obviously he treats people like this. How does he treat you? And Raquel is like, you know, he's amazing. Like, I love him. He's an amazing boyfriend. But when he drinks, he treats me that way. And it's like, literally, James, like, how many more reasons do you need to stop drinking? The next day, Katie goes to Lisa's house and she brings up what was said at Pride, like James's comments and just the whole situation. Lisa's like, don't let him like change your opinion of yourself. Like, don't let him affect you like that. And Katie's like, you know, that's not the problem. Like, I love my body. I'm confident. Like, his words don't mean anything to me in the sense that like it diminishes my confidence. It's like, I don't want to work in an environment where these derogatory comments are accepted. Lisa's like trying to see where this goes, and Katie's like, you know, it's basically me or him. And Lisa's like, are you giving me an ultimatum? Katie's like, well, you know, like, I gave one only one other time in my life. It ended up working for me. So yeah, like, I cannot work in this environment. And like, I've been working with you, like, for you for 8 years. I don't want to do this, but this is not an environment for me. So Lisa, she has no idea what to do. Well, I mean, this is where the episode ends. So in episode 4, she's talking with Peter, she's talking with Diane, she's talking with Natalie, she's talking with Guillermo, trying to figure out what to do, because she genuinely has no idea. Because like, yes, James is technically good for business, but also like, you know, she does care about her staff, and it's like, if her staff do not like that, they will leave, and then that would hurt business, right? So she's really trying to balance like both options to see like what she's gonna do in this situation. So while Lisa is dealing with that, we have the Toms who do these, oh my god, what's it called? I was gonna say interview, not an interview. Job interviews for Tom Tom. Sandoval is like hypercritical about everything. Schwartz absolutely loves everyone, so it's like hard to see who's actually gonna work there. Then actually, while they're doing these interviews, James comes in. So Lisa leaves the guys alone to do the interviews while she's talking with James. Lisa opens up this conversation by asking what happened at Pride and being like, you know, this is what I heard. I heard about these comments. And James is like, you know, the only reason why I said it is because they call me names back. So it's like, okay, and it's fair. And Lisa's like, you can't do that. Like, are you drinking? James is like, I'm a changed person. I don't do that anymore. I was just drinking at Pride. And Lisa's like, if you want to change, if you actually truly want to change, you should not touch a drink for the rest of your life. And she fires him. James breaks down crying, gets mad. And Lisa's like, grow up. So episode 5, we have Ari and Stassi that are talking about the party. Obviously, they're going to talk about James, and they're like, you know, we don't want him there because of like the comments that he made with the girls. And then they were like, okay, well, Raquel. At first, I'm like, I do not know, but then they were like, you know, like, we don't want to punish Raquel for his behavior. Like, Raquel can come, but James, absolutely uninvited, especially because of like what he said to Katie. No. So Lisa actually meets with James' mom, and she brings up that she's really concerned about his behavior towards women and just like his type of comment. And his mom, like, yes, it's her son, but his mom is like, you know, people are always provoking him, like it's not his fault, stuff like that. He can't be doing this. He can't be saying things like that. And they kind of go back and forth where his mom is like not exactly blaming, but like kind of blaming other people. But then they talk through it. His mom like realizes, yeah, okay, like this is not okay. There actually is a problem. With his mom, it's hard because, you know, obviously we do not know like what she's going through. We know that she's going through a lot, and she's like, I mean, obviously he's her son, so she cares about him. He's like, please give him his job back just for Tuesdays, because this means everything to him. Like, I want him to have at least something. But Lisa's like, you know, these are the consequences of his action. Like, that's not something I can do. So now we're moving on to Aria and Stassi's birthday party, and it looks so fun. Stassi's like actually super happy, and I love that for her. And even Katie is like, Katie is like, you know, for once, like, Stassi's actually enjoying herself because she doesn't have to think about Patrick and him judging her and him being an asshole like Beau. Beau loves her for her like quirky, weird side. Patrick was always trying to like box her and put her down. So just like hearing that from Katie, hearing how much Katie supports that, I absolutely love. And yeah, so Raquel did come. So when she walks in, she talks with Ariana and Stassi, and Ariana's like, hey, I'm really sorry that James couldn't come, like there were these things, like I'm really sorry. And then Stassi's like, you know, actually I'm not sorry because he cannot talk to Katie that way. And Raquel, like, obviously she loves James, so she's defending him. She was like, you know, he was just drinking. That's not how he normally is. It was, like, not a one-time thing, but, like, she's kind of, like, trying to defend and, like, excuse it. And Stassi's like, hey, you know, I've been in your situation in my early 20s, trying to defend Jax, trying to, like, explain his behavior to anyone. I see myself in, like, I see you as, like, a younger version of myself. Please take my advice from someone who has been in your position. Get out. Like, it's not healthy and you're just hurting yourself. But Raquel, when you're in it, she's not gonna like realize. So I mean, again, we'll see. There's still a few seasons left. We're gonna see what happens. But yeah, like party goes on, everything fun. We love it. We absolutely love it. But then the time flashes to 2 a.m. and then you see Stassi in the bathroom taking her makeup off. She's freaking out. We don't know why. And she's like calling Beau. I think she called like 5-6 times, not answering. He's up there having fun with the guys. And Stassi's like breaking down. And then we like move right into episode 6. So we don't exactly know what happened. We find out that Stassi actually called Beau about like 15 times. And Katie and Kristen saw him upstairs, like looking kind of stressed, like not okay. But he wasn't like going down to see her. And then Stassi like comes storming up, starts screaming at him to get him to like come to the room with her, and then they leave. So no one really knows what happened with Stassi because again, it was going so well. She was having so much fun, but then all that. So Beau and Stassi actually have a talk, and we learned that they were having a little argument last night, and then Beau, he said like, I need to walk away to give myself space so I can breathe, so I can think. And Stassi went off at him. Their conversation in the morning isn't really heated. It's very calm, trying to understand both point of views. Stassi's like, I am terrified that you're gonna leave me because of my actions. And Beau, you can really tell his mom is a relationship therapist because he's like, I'm not gonna leave you, like we're in this together. I wanna work with you. I need you to work with me, but we're gonna work through this. We're gonna become stronger together. Literally worlds apart from Patrick. But anyways, we have that, which we love that for them. And then Lisa, to help her make her decision, she has a staff meeting that's like an open conversation about James. So Peter says, you know, James does bring in a lot of business because apparently it's like 20% more business because of James. But then Brittany's like, we need to consider, I don't have Billy. I just realized I don't have Billy. But anyways, Britt is like, you know, we need to consider other people's emotions. Billy, she goes on to defending James and she's like, you know, you banned Kristen from Sir and from Pump, and he always had these problems when Kristen is here. Which like fair, Kristen does trigger him, but then that's like an excuse for his behavior and what he does, which like it shouldn't be. But yeah, things get a little bit heated. Lisa goes to calm it down and she's like, guys, he's fired. That's like my decision. That's the final thing. I just wanted to know what your opinions were. It's not gonna change. He's done. Done with Sir. So before the actual opening of Tom Tom, we have the Daily Mail that asked if they could do a little party at Tom Tom. So the Daily Mail does like James. They asked if James could DJ, and obviously he said bad things about Katie. The guys are like, we don't know. But then at the end, Schwartz is like, yeah, you know, he can do it. And then when he tells Katie, obviously she's like pissed off. She's like, absolutely not. But then Schwartz is like, you know, he's gonna be in his booth alone. He cannot leave. He's not gonna have a microphone. And Katie's like, okay, like whatever, like that's fine, but he's not causing any problems. He's in his own corner. I don't want to see him. I don't want to hear from him. I don't want anything to do with him. He can DJ, but completely out of our sights. And then the episode ends with James and Lala actually going for coffee. So Lala asks, like, why are you always acting like this? Like, what's your trigger? Like, what exactly is going on? And James is like, you know, it's all alcohol. It's only when I drink. He puts all the blame on alcohol without being like, no, these like were my actions. And Lala's like, you know, I was in your position. I was exactly like you, but I took charge of it because I wanted to be better, because it was hurting me. It was hurting my relationships. It was hurting everything. She's like kind of talking about him trying to fix his connections with other people, but he's like, you know, I need to be good with myself first. I need to work on myself first before I can work on on relationships with other people, which we love that, but it's like, you can't be saying what you're saying about other people. Maybe it's growth in James, who knows? And then they do start talking about like music and writing a song, and Lala actually agrees to go to the studio with him to make new music. So Katie, Kristen, and Lala are having a conversation, and they ask about the whole thing with James, and Lala's like, you know, he apologized, we had a really good conversation, and I think everything is going to be okay. So the girls were actually supposed to do, well, okay, so you know how Katie was like, I cannot work there with James, but people were like, oh, he does like bring in a lot of business, so our tips are lower, we're making less money and everything. So Katie's like, you know, let's do something else on Tuesday night. So she's thinking like girls' night in, and Lala was actually supposed to come help them plan it, but then she was like, oh, you know, I'm actually going to the studio with James. So the girls are like he's not gonna change his behavior because you always forgive him, you always act like nothing is like wrong, everything's fine. And then they start talking more, and Lala's like, you know, honestly, having this conversation with you guys, my eyes do feel open up. I feel like he did play me again because he knows that he is gonna lose me. And then she agrees, like, you know, we're not gonna go with James, we're not gonna make music, I'm gonna hang out with you girls, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna plan girls' night in. So while they're actually getting ready, like the day of girls' night in, we find out that Billy wasn't really included because of how she was defending James at the staff meeting. But Billy goes on to tweeting, how do I say it? So like, kind of like she says that's not what she meant, which like I totally get her point of view, but how it came across, it was the words that she used, kind of like, even though her feelings are so valid and that's not what she meant, it seemed like she was calling Katie transphobic, which obviously Katie is not okay with at all, because that was not her intention at all. She didn't want Billy involved because of how she was defending James, not because of anything else. But with those comments, it does come across that way. She was like liking comments that can also hint at that. So all the girls are kind of like worried because like that's not what Katie meant, and obviously it's a bad look. So let's just talk about like the overall vibes or themes of the party. It's like sleepover vibes. All the girls are wearing like little robes and PJs and stuff like that. It is so cute. It looks like so much fun, and Lisa absolutely loves it. But then at some point we have Billy, who goes to talk with Sheena and, is it Britt? No, Sheena and Ari, and they're like, you know, we totally understand where you're coming from not feeling included. And Billy's like, you know, when I was a kid, obviously I wasn't included in like girlier things because of like my gender. It is a little trigger for her. She did feel really left out, but the girls are like, that is not the intention at all. And you can tell that Billy, like, she's still like really pissed off. And we're gonna see that in episode 8. So in episode 8, Sheena has a little housewarming party and everyone is invited, but then Katie, Stassi, and Kristen actually decide not to come because Billy and James are gonna be there. So at this party, we have Lala and James who are having a conversation, trying to like come to terms with everything that was going on. And then Billy comes and interrupts this conversation, starts getting super pissed at Lala, calling her names. So she does open up about like her side, how she feels, but it gets heated so fast. They start screaming at each other, and they both like end up having to go their own way because it's getting like really heated. The next day, Lisa unveils Tom to the guys. It is absolutely gorgeous, so gorgeous, love it. And then at the during this one trip that they took, there was a picture of Schwartz and Sandoval kissing, and Lisa had that like printed in big and framed, and that is so fun. And honestly, the restaurant is so perfect. So Peter, the Toms, and Jax go out for lunch. They start talking about like wedding stuff, engagement, and whatever. And Jax asks, okay, like, Tom, with Ariana, if she doesn't want to kiss, she doesn't want to get married, is that a deal breaker for you? Tom is like, yes. We will see what happens in the future, because like obviously I'm not gonna act like I don't know what Scandoval is. I don't know what happened, but I'm intrigued if that might have, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're literally only at season 7. So James actually joins after. Tom, maybe not the best time, but Tom brings up something that happened between Ariana and Lala in the back of his car. Then James goes on to being like, oh, you know, this is how Lala is in bed. This is everything that she does and stuff like that. And it's like, it's literally no one's business. So obviously after lunch, Jax calls Lala and he's like, hey, you know, this is everything that James said about you. And then Lala calls Ariana, telling her what Tom said about her. So Tom goes into work, sees Ariana super pissed, and he's like very confused at first, but Ariana's like, my sexuality is none of your business. Like, you can't go saying these things to your friends just to seem cool. And Tom is like, you know, I told them this because it still affects me. I'm so like, I guess like not healed from seeing it. But Ariana's like, this is my body, my sexuality. You have no business talking about it. Like, I'm pissed off, which rightfully so. but they kind of like work through it. Then we move on to Jax and Tom's birthday. People are actually having civil conversations. So Katie and Billy talk. They're not good, but they're working through it. We have Lala and James who talk. They're not great, but they're working through it. And then who else do we have? And then yeah, so James actually says that he's gonna write a letter to Randall to apologize for his comments and everything. So okay, love that. Episode 9, I don't have like really much to say about it. We have the Daily Mail party and things are an absolute mess. There's no AC, there's no ice, they have no uniforms, and it's like 4 hours before the party. So most of the episode is like trying to fix everything to make sure everything is okay. And then at the party, it's actually so funny because James, there's like an upstairs part. There's like a little window thing where James can kind of like look at the floor, but his like DJ setup is like literally in a closet. But like besides that, you know, party success, everyone loves it. Just wow, amazing, so happy for the guys. So again, nothing like really big happens. It's just like the lead up to the party and all the planning. But yeah, super successful, love it, absolutely gorgeous. I definitely, like honestly, I would be so down to like just visit every single like Vanderpump restaurant, you know, like visit Sir, visit Pump, visit Tom Tom. I kind of want to do that. I like honestly, I feel like that could be such a fun video to bring out because I'm literally like going through every single episode and season. Might as well finish it with like going to every single restaurant. Let me know if you guys want to see that because I think that could be so fun. I really hope you guys cannot hear this because like there's someone who's doing construction, like one of my neighbors is doing construction, and it's such an obnoxious noise, and like I literally woke up, heard this, and I was like, please stop so I can film. And then it stopped for the past like hour, but now it's like going back. I swear to God, the noise has been going on for the past 5 minutes. Like I'm just here waiting for it to stop, to continue. Finally, it's done. Oh my God. Episode 10. So episode 10, we have Stassi, Britt, and Jax who go look at wedding venues. No, not wedding venues, engagement party venues. And there's this one place. It's like whimsical fairy tale, like a nice little garden. So beautiful. While they're on that little excursion, we have James who actually goes to therapy, and he opens up about having to like financially support his entire family. You can tell that like honestly, I think that's going to be a little change. I think he's like trying to work through things because you do see that there's like more beneath the surface. So he opens up to his therapist about it. Things are going well, right? He leaves the appointment calling his mom, asking if they can meet for like lunch. But his mom gets like really angry, starts screaming. It's like an argument over the phone. We don't know exactly why, but they're having that argument. Then we actually have Britt and Jax who also go to therapy. They basically want to work on things like before the marriage to make sure that everything is like good and everything's gonna be okay. So the therapist actually asks about the cheating, and Britt is like, no, I don't feel like I can even mention it at times because Jax is like completely closed off. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to talk about it. I feel like I am healed from things, but if he's a little bit late to something, he doesn't come home like the time he says he would, my brain still wanders. You know, there's still a little bit of like tension there. But we have James who actually does meet with his mom. It gets like really heated, but James, he's like, you know what? I need to set boundaries with you. Like, one, you are not talking about my dad. Like, yes, he was your ex-husband. You do not like him, but he's my dad. I still love him. I care about him. You're not like talking shit about him to me. Two, if I'm supporting you financially, I want to see where all the money is going. And that's the thing that like really like sets her off. Like the whole dad thing, she's like, yeah, whatever, like that's fine. It's the money where she's like, oh, why do I have to like show you everything? And James is like, you know, I feel like you're the kid and I'm the parent. Heated back and forth. Okay, so heated on the mom side, James stays surprisingly calm. And honestly, that's a shock because he's not like that. It's really, you can really tell that it's the alcohol because he's like that with people when he drinks. He can de-escalate a situation when he's not drunk. So it's like, James, we literally have proof that you should never touch alcohol again. Why are you still drinking? But yeah, he's able to like de-escalate the conversation and on good terms with his mom, which like we absolutely love. So Lisa goes to dinner with James's mom, and James's mom is like, hey, you know, can you have his job back because he's not drinking, he's going to therapy, he is picking his life back up, can you please have his job back? Lisa's like, you know, all this is good, it's an amazing start, but I still need like more to see like that he's actually changing because he has his anger issues. He cannot be talking this way towards women, he cannot be getting this angry. And she's like, you know, as his mom, you need to be there to support him. And his mom is like, obviously she loves him, she wants to be there for him, but you can tell that hearing that from Lisa, she's like, I don't know, like something was like wrong with her. I don't know like how she truly feels about it, but I just felt like weird seeing her reaction. Right after this, she's like, oh hey, can you hire my other son Harry because he just finished school, he needs a job. And Lisa's like, what? But then she's also like, James does have to financially support his entire family, and that's bringing so much stress and anxiety. If someone else is helping out, you know, it's definitely going to be better. But she's like, you know what, I need to meet this kid first. I need to know he's not gonna cause problems, so we can meet and then we can see where we go from there. So remember how I said that Lala's dad passed away? So all the girls were really there for her, really supportive when she needed them when that happened. So she's like, you know what, to like say thank you to everyone, we're gonna go on this little like trip to Solvang. I think Solvang, it's somewhere in California. It's like, it's not European, I mean I feel like it's European looking for California. It's like the theme, but still it's not like the architecture. I don't know, I feel like this is not making sense, but it's like a European like style little village where you can do wine tastings. They do take the private jets, and honestly all the girls love that. They're having fun. It's gonna be a super fun thing. And then they actually go to the first wine testing like right when they land, because it's literally like a 20-minute flight. You can already tell that Kristen is being messy. She's getting drunk. She's like making weird comments, like acting weirdly, and it's like all the girls are like, you know, you're making us look bad. And Stassi's like, I can just tell that crazy Kristen is like right around the corner. So we're all scared. We're like, what is gonna happen? But anyway, back in LA, we have Tom. No, oh my god, we have Peter, Guillermo, James, and then Harry, James's brother, who have a little meeting. Guillermo is like, okay, you know what? Like, we will give you a chance. You can work like this one shift, and then from there, we will see if it turns into a job or not. So episode 12, the girls finish the wine testing and they go to a little jewelry store. So Brittany FaceTimes Jax, and then Kristen actually overhears Jax saying that James is DJing and at Pump. And Kristen's attitude changes instantly. She starts freaking out, having an anxiety attack, and she has to like leave the store because she just like cannot be there anymore. So all the girls get back to the hotel and there's still like no sign of Kristen. So everyone is like, what exactly like just happened? But she ended up coming back, and then she tells the girls like, overhearing this did have an effect on me because James is a bad person. Like, he always messes up countless times, and Lisa is always forgiving him, always giving him his job back. But for me, it's like from day one, she's hated me. There's nothing that I can even do about it because she just hates me. She despises me. So the girls are trying to like see Kristen's point of view, but Kristen gets like really heated. She starts causing a scene, starts like screaming. There are other people in the lobby, right? And Kristen ends up leaving. So Katie, she decides to call Carter because she's like, hey, you know, like I'm sure that she was texting you. Like, what exactly happened? What's going on? And Carter doesn't seem like concerned or worried about her behavior. So Katie's confused because she's like, okay, you're her boyfriend. Like, you should care that something's wrong with her. But he just seemed like super indifferent to everything. And that's why we leave the episode. Like, we don't really know what happened, but we just like, we can kind of like start seeing cracks like Kristen and Carter's relationship. So that's where episode 11 ends. So episode 12, we actually find out Katie did stay in Sheena's room. She didn't really want to stay with Kristen, but she comes back, asks Kristen like what was going on, brings up her behavior and being like, you know, it's not okay, like if there's something, let's talk and stuff like that. Based on how she, like, obviously Kristen is like blaming it on James. Katie's pretty sure, like, you know, I think it's actually Carter who's causing this and not James. Katie obviously, she tells Stassi, and then later in the day Stassi does talk with Kristen and she's like, hey, you know, like, you are not happy with Carter, like, please realize this, please leave him, because like, you are always complaining, obviously things are not going right, just like, please Kristen, wake up. So the gang ends up getting back to LA, and Christina, like, you remember Christina from like seasons 1, 2. She ends up having a little barbecue. Obviously everyone is invited, and Carter is also going to be there. So Carter and Kristen talk, and I mean, already like getting there, they are arguing a lot. But then when they're over there, Carter's kind of like villainizing her based on what her therapist said. So basically they went to couples therapy, and Kristen was like obviously like saying what was like on her mind, what her concerns were. And the therapist was being like, okay, this is him, but how about you, Kristen? It's normal for a therapist, but then having Carter like be like, okay, yeah, there's all this about me, but like, what about you? There's all of this, and like, your therapist said that, and it's like, Carter, stop. No, but yeah, like, really villainizing her and like using her therapist against her, and like people were hearing it because obviously it's like not a private conversation. So, I mean, we'll see if they stay together or not. I hope for Kristen saying, honestly, at first, I love Carter. I thought that he was, like, great for her. But seeing this sound like, Kristen, you need someone so much better. So much better, who isn't gonna, like, trigger you, who isn't gonna set you off. Like, you need someone who is literally so calm. So, also, we see that Lala is having relationship problems at this barbecue. So she actually pulls Britt and Katie aside and she's like, you know, I didn't drink on this trip because Randall doesn't like it when I drink. So, you know, she's like, okay, obviously I love Randall, I care about Randall, I'm not gonna drink. But then she comes back, Randall partied the entire time that she was gone, and he was like so drunk he could barely remember anything. So obviously Lala is pissed off because she's like, you know, so I'm not drinking because of you, but you can't even like offer me the same respect. So they fight, and then Lala, she's like, you know what, we're done, I'm breaking up with you, we need to take a break. So the girls are like really shocked, and that's where the episode ends. But then next episode, what number? Episode 13. So like this is a day after. Katie and Britt like do feel bad for her because she was like getting really emotional. She was crying. So they make a little like, not a huge girls night, but just a little like, you know, little like thing for her to make her feel better. And Lala comes over, smile on her face, and she's like, you know, I was just being emotional. I was just like, I was really thinking through. We're back together. And the girls are like, oh, okay. But basically she says that they had a convo and they're good now. So I guess they're good. The next night, Lala, well, okay, so there's a movie premiere for The Row. It's a horror slasher film that I actually really want to watch now. So Randall was Randall the director? I think Randall was the director. He was like so high up in the production team, and Lala had a little part in it. So the whole gang goes to support her. Then they go out after, and Saucy's like, Bill's mom is coming in town. Like, I really want you guys to all meet her, to talk to her, because she is a relationship therapist. I mean, she doesn't single out Kristen, but she pulls her aside and she's like, hey, I really think that you should talk with her because this, like, I think this could really help you. But Kristen is like defending herself. She's like, you know, me and Carter were doing amazing. Like, there's no problems at all. Why should I have to talk to her? And then Katie's like, you know, this is actually weird because now you're saying that everything is fine, but literally like a few hours ago, oh my god, like Carter is horrible. There's like this problem and that problem and that problem. But Kristen is like, yes, I guess, like, you know, obviously she loves Carter, she wants to protect him, but it's like you're always complaining to your friends about your problems, and then like when you say everything's fine, they're gonna be like, yeah, no, you're saying like it doesn't. No, just no, like stop lying, Kristen, stop lying to us, stop lying to yourself. Like, please wake up and realize that you're not happy and you need to find someone who actually makes you happy. So Beau's mom is in town, Saucy meets him, and Saucy loves the mom. The mom loves Saucy, and it's so cute, it's so adorable, it's so wholesome. I love it. And then after they have their own little private meeting, they introduce the mom to the group, and she gives a little like speech slash workshop on relationships and how to handle your triggers, which I think was a very good thing, and that's what a lot of people in this group need. So after that, they're socializing, there's drinks, there's food, and Carter does pull Katie and Saucy aside, and he's like, hey, you guys need to stop being like mean to Kristen because every time we fight it's because of you guys. And he's putting all the blame on her when, you know, he's the reason why she's so on edge. And that's exactly what Katie and like Saucy say. They're like, you know, she's always complaining to us, so obviously we're gonna tell her that she needs to fix her problems, that like you're the problem because she doesn't say anything good about you. And yeah, Carter's just like blaming them for everything and for all his relationship problems. Kristen comes in, and so obviously the girl's saying that she's gonna defend him, but she takes Carter's side. She starts telling them to like stop being over dramatic, to stop making things out of like situations that there's like nothing to be made out of. And it's like, Kristen, you literally always like Katie was so pissed off because she's like, you literally only complain about him, and now you're taking his side, you're defending him, you're saying that everything is happy, everything is good, when like clearly it's not. And that's where the episode ends. So very heated, and like the little fight is like in the bedroom, and then Kristen comes out like literally saging everyone. She sages Saucy, and Saucy's like, did she actually just shades? Oh my god, sage me? Hilarious, peak comedy. So as you can see, it is a new day. I could not finish filming the other day because it was just like way too loud. So we're back to finish off the last few episodes. So episode 14, we have, where is Tom? We have Tom, his triplet brothers who are in town. So both Toms and Jack take them out clubbing. It's fun because James, he doesn't work at like, well, I mean, he doesn't work for Lisa anymore, right? But he has a residency at this club. So we love that for him, good for him. So they all go out, listen to him play. And then, you know, we have Toms, well, the Toms, you know, they're comparing their business with Lisa to a marriage, and they're like, you know what, we should have this like bachelor party before like getting married to the business. So they decide to go to Mexico, but obviously James, he comes to the table, and we know how like Katie does not really like James, but the guy still invites James, and it's like, if you didn't want to invite him, don't talk about it when he's at the table, but they invite him. So that happens at night, right? The next day we have Ari, Stassi, Stassi and Katie, who all go out to a little cat cafe. It's super, super cute. And Schwartz actually calls Katie and he tells her about this trip and that James is going to be invited. Obviously, Katie's like pissed off. She's like, absolutely not. Like, he's not coming. You know, I don't want to pull this card, but I'm your wife. If I say no, it's a no. We're gonna assume that James isn't going to be there. But anyway, so they switch topics and they start talking about Kristen. So the girls did notice that Kristen is like posting a lot about Carter and just like saying that the relationship is perfect, like he's amazing, they don't have any problems. And Stassi points out that she was doing the exact same thing with Tom. So the girls see parallels and it just seems like Kristen and Carter's relationship is like falling apart. Like, I would genuinely be really surprised if they had not broken up by the time that we get to season 8. But alas, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I haven't watched like a single episode as of now of episode 8. My bad, of season 8, so I do not know what's going to happen. I just hope that for Kristen's sake, she's not together with Carter. Speaking about Kristen and Carter, we actually go to Kristen and Carter going on their relationship, oh my god, their whatever year anniversary. And Carter's like, oh, you know, Kristen, like, all of our problems should not be like Stassi or Katie's business. And Kristen defends herself. She's like, you know, I only talk to them about our problems when you're not pulling your weight. And Carter's like, oh, well, you know, I'm not the only one who's like not giving 100%, who's not pitching in. Okay, you know, we recognize that we both are not contributing properly. Let's please fix it. Let's not attack each other. Let's work together to fix things. Doesn't seem that hard. For this gang of people, it is probably the hardest thing they would ever have to do in their life. At night, we have Schwartz who goes visits Tom and he's like, hey man, you know, I talked with Katie and she said no James. And Sandoval is like actually kind of sad because he's like, you know, I feel bad for this guy. He doesn't really have friends and like, I'm good with him. I'm close with him. Like, I want him to be there because it's like my thing also. And they kind of go like back and forth. Like, obviously both Toms want to respect Katie, but then also Sandoval is friends with James. So, you know, it gets a little bit complicated. Ariana comes out and she actually gets really mad at Schwartz because every time that someone has to do like something difficult, like every single difficult like conversation that has to be had, Schwartz seems to always put it onto Sandoval. So obviously, you know, it makes sense that Ari's like not really like okay with that. Then Katie, she realizes that they're talking outside, so comes out. She kind of gets into it with Sandoval and it kind of like starts this big thing. So both couples decide to like separate. The next day, the Toms talk again and they're like, okay, you know what? Maybe we should not have James there. Great, we're on the same page. Once again, we're in Tom Tom getting ready for things to open. James actually goes over. He asks the Toms and Lisa if he can DJ. Lisa says absolutely not, obviously, because the girls like aren't happy with him. I think it was actually Schwartz who did it. Schwartz actually tells him like, you know, by the way, like, I'm really sorry, but you cannot come. And James basically loses it. He starts attacking Schwartz, attacking Katie, attacking everyone. And Lisa's like, calm down. Like, we're not doing this. Calm the F down. Tries to separate it, but you can see it's getting like very, very heated. And that's where the episode ends. But episode 15 starts off heat of the moment in the scene and Ken has to come over to finally separate them. So obviously, you know, Lisa's like pissed at James. Like, if she wasn't like already annoyed at James, this is like, you know, something else to add to the list of like everything that James has done. So next day we have, where is she? Kristen, who goes over to Sir, asks Lisa, like, hey, you know, I don't find it fair that the Toms invited me. Like, you're saying, no, I cannot come to the opening party for Tom Tom. And Lisa, she's kind of like grappling with it, but then she's like, okay, you know what? Like, if the Toms say you can come, you can come. So Kristen's happy because she knows that she can come. Again, Billy's not here, but we have brunch with Billy over the weekend. James actually talks to Sandoval, asks if he can be at the opening. Sandoval says yes. So that's great. We love that for him. James, obviously, he's really good friends with Billy, so he is DJing. But we have Lala, who obviously she's working the brunch. She has a friend who's coming in from out of town, and this friend is talking with Raquel. So Lala actually overhears Raquel not really saying the best things about her. She goes, confronts Raquel, and Raquel is like, I think you should really be taking accountability for your actions. Like, you are always using your dad as an excuse. Like, yes, it's sad what happened, and like, I totally understand, but you can't be an asshole and just like use your dad as an excuse. You know, she does have a point. Lala does get like very aggressive and attack, and it's like, on one hand, like, you know, I back up Lala because it's a huge thing. Like, obviously everyone copes in a different way, but it's also like Raquel is like, hey, you cannot be an ass to other people just because you're feeling emotions. Kind of like starts a big thing. Lala's like basically yelling, right? Absolutely yelling. So James comes over. He sees what's going on. Obviously, he's going to defend Raquel. Lala and him kind of go back and forth, screaming at each other. Billy then comes over. Well, okay, so these two walk away. Billy comes over. tells Lala like, hey, you need to leave. I genuinely like Lala, but she was honestly kind of being a menace over here. And Lala starts attacking Billy, and it's like, again, I understand you're going through very, very strong emotions and you take it out through anger, but it's also not okay. So yeah, big thing, Lala ends up leaving. And then basically right after this happens, James is like, I don't want Lisa to think that I did something bad. So immediately he goes over to Tom Tom and he talks with Lisa. So obviously Lisa's gonna bring out the last encounter that they had. I was gonna call him Tom. James, obviously he apologizes. And then Lisa, next she asks about the brunch. So James is completely honest with her, says like, I didn't do anything. I tried to de-escalate the situation. When I saw Lala was screaming, I left. Obviously, James doesn't have like the best reputation, so Lisa doesn't believe him. I genuinely felt bad for him because the one time he's telling the truth, he did not do anything bad. Lisa doesn't believe him. And like James also says in his confessional, like, I'm like the boy who cried wolf. Like Lisa doesn't believe me anymore because I started shit so many times. You know, like truly, I feel like, you know, you feel bad for him because again, this was like the one time he literally did not do, like he's caused so many problems, been so aggressive. The one time he does nothing, Lisa doesn't believe him. James obviously not really feeling that great, but then he has a really big like introspective moment and he tells Lisa, I think me being at the opening of Tom Tom would cause problems. It's fine, I can take a step back, I'm not gonna go. Which honestly, we love seeing some like introspection by James. Now moving on to the next episode, episode 16, opening of Tom Tom. So Sandoval, we love how like extravagant Sandoval can be at times, right? He got a motorcycle with a sidecar. So obviously Katie knows about, no, Katie doesn't know about it. Ari knows about it. Sandoval basically told Schwartz, hey, like be ready at this time, I'm gonna come pick you up. So Schwartz is waiting outside of his and Katie's apartment and he's like, oh, where's Tom? Where's Sandoval? Then he sees Tom pulling up with that. Obviously both Toms love it. We think everything is great. Sandoval living his best life, Schwartz living his best life, and Sandoval like mentions, you know, he thought of every possible thing. The only thing he didn't think of is if there's enough gas in the motorcycle. So you see these guys like in their outrageous, like, okay, they're wearing white suits, but kind of like picture something that these guys would wear mixed with a little bit like Elvis inspired. That's the best way I can describe it. And they're just there pushing like the motorcycle and sidecar to a gas station to fill up. Ari gets everyone to wait outside at the curb. So everyone watches them come in. Everything is great, fun, we love. They pop champagne, they cut the ribbon, everything is going amazing. But then obviously Lisa knows that brunch was an absolute mess. Lisa pulls Lala over and she asks about the brunch. So Lala says that she was being disrespected, like she really didn't like that. So she did kind of like talk back, but she was calm, she didn't cause a scene. Lisa doesn't really believe her. So Lisa calls Sheena over and Sheena's like, you know, on one hand, like I don't want to lie to my boss, but then also Lala's my friend and I've seen how she is when she gets mad and it's like I don't want her to be mad at me, but also Lisa's my boss. So Sheena tries to explain it in like the best way possible and you can see Lala like, I wouldn't say death glaring at her, but Lala's like, come on girl, like keep your mouth shut. But I get it, you know, like Sheena's like, Lisa's my boss, I have respect for her, like I'm not gonna lie to her. So throughout the night, obviously Katie is like super happy for Tom, but she has been feeling left out because Tom was spending so much time getting ready for the opening of Tom Tom. But she is like, you know, I didn't really say anything because I know it's just for the opening. After that, things are gonna go back to normal. Like she recognizes Tom has to work, but she was like, you know, I would like to feel a little bit appreciated. So yeah, that's pretty much like all that. Oh no, oh my god. We know that like motorcycle and sidecar, right? The guys get Lisa to sit in the sidecar and Tom drives her around, so like super funny. Then yeah, that's pretty much all for the opening of Tom Tom. A very successful event. The next day we have James who goes over to Lisa's house to play, I think they were playing ping pong, or just like basically to hang out with Max. Lisa comes over, Lisa sees, and she thanks him, you know, she's like, thank you a lot for like not going to the opening. I really appreciate it. Lisa talks with Lala, talks with Sheena. She knows what actually happened, so she tells James that she believes him, and you can see James's smile on his face. He's like, Lisa finally believes me, and I feel amazing for him. But then Lisa asks about his drinking, and he's like, I'm not drinking anymore. But then his dad was like proud of him, so his dad took him out for a beer, and he's like, I had a beer. And Lisa's like, why are we celebrating you not drinking with a drink? While that conversation is going on, we have the gang who are getting ready to go to Mexico for the little bachelor party before like Tom Tom like opens for good. Remember how I said Katie not feeling super great, right? So she was like, okay, this flight, I'm gonna be with Tom. It's gonna be a little bit of quality time, our time to reconnect. but the flight was a little bit overbooked. So Sheena and Tom actually got upgraded to like first class. And Katie's like actually a little bit annoyed because she was like, you know, this was supposed to be time for us. We were supposed to reconnect. I waited until Tom is open, but now it's like, I want to spend time with my husband, right? So once the Wi-Fi kicked in, Katie was rage taxing Tom, and it's like a 3-hour flight. So I get that Tom was a little bit like aggravated. And then when the gang gets to the hotel, well, like the resort hotel, one, Kristen is rooming alone because everyone was like, I think this is the best thing, and Kristen also said, I think this is the best thing for me. So love the self-awareness. Honestly, I feel like this trip is gonna go fine just because Kristen is roaming alone. But yeah, Katie and Tom get to the hotel room and they're still fighting, right? And Katie's like, you know, I just want you to listen to me. And Tom is like, okay, well, you know, I would listen to you, I just hate the sound of your voice. And it's like, oh my god. So honestly, first night in Mexico goes great. There's no problems at all, so we love that. The next day, the gang was on a little like excursion on ATVs, and they go swimming at a little waterfall. And Stassi and Jax have a heart-to-heart, and Jax is like, obviously we dated, I've seen you date other guys. Please don't mess this up with Beau, because he's genuinely a really good guy. He cares about you. He's so much better for you than I was, than Patrick was, than Frank was. Please do not mess this up. Like, be a strong person. You don't want to lose him, which actually, like, you know, we can see there's actual growth. Honestly, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Nothing really big happens like the rest of the day. Like, relatively calm trip in like Vanderpump Rules standards. But at night, the gang goes out to a club. Lala actually gets them to play her song. Everyone's vibing, everyone's having fun. Beau was encouraging Stassi to go dance, and Stassi's like, you know, I don't want to, like, stop pushing me, stop being like so insistent. Beau doesn't really understand what's going on because he's like, hey, you know, all your friends are up there, they seem like they're having fun. But Stassi's like very against it, kind of like starting a fight with him. They actually end up leaving, go back to the room, and they're still arguing. And you know, we can really tell that Stassi has abandonment issues. Like, Beau kind of brings it up, Stassi recognizes it. Beau's like, you know, I would like to be able to go out with the guys without you like being mad at me all the time. And Stassi's like, well, you know, I would not want to date someone who at 3 a.m. still wants to go party. Fair, I get that. But Beau is also like, you know, stop like treating me as if I'm gonna cheat on you, as if I'm gonna leave you. Like, stop treating me like I'm Jax or like I'm Patrick. And he actually breaks down because he's like, I love you, Stassi. Please have faith in me. Please, like, know that I love you. Like, I'm not gonna leave you. I feel like it's definitely a little issue that they still have to like work through. But again, Beau, such a healthy guy. Like, Mr. Jax Taylor and Mr. Patrick, whatever his last name is, could never. So episode 18 is a little bit short also. We know that these two have been fighting, right? So Tom actually plans a little romantic night for Katie. There is like exotic Mexican candy. There's rose petals. There's actually a violinist from dinner that he gets to like come up to the room to play with him. So that's super cute. We love that. Nothing else really big happened in Mexico. Well, actually a conversation that did happen in Mexico when the gang was packing to come back is Jax and Britt, who are talking about, I guess, was for their engagement party. So Britt does bring up Jax's mom. You know, are you gonna be okay with your mom not being here? And Jax is like, yeah, you know, like, it's fine. I'm gonna have my sister. I'm not gonna invite her. Like, whatever, it's fine. And they also talk about Billy, and they decide not to invite Billy. That's where the Mexico trip ends. Really nothing big happened, and I'm genuinely so surprised. Raquel and James got a new puppy, Graham. I don't know. It's like the cracker. I generally do not know how to pronounce it. But anyway, they have a new puppy. So Raquel wants to do a little puppy shower, which is like super cute. And she wants to invite everyone because obviously she's like friends with them. Or like she wants to like build friendships with them. So she goes over to Sir, talks to Jax and Britt. And Jax is like, you know, if it was just you, I would totally come. But you live with James. Like, no, I'm not going to do it. And Britt's like, girl, I love you, but James is going to be there and like, I can't. Then she goes over to Tom, talks to Stassi, and Stassi's like, doesn't try to be like cordial. She's just like straight up no, right? So Raquel is actually like really sad, and I get it. It's like, you do want to become friends with these people. Like, Raquel actually really likes Stassi, so it made her sad when Stassi couldn't come, but it's also like, you're dating James. People don't like James. Then I forget who told her, but Billy actually finds out that she's not invited to the engagement party. So she goes to talk to Britt, and Britt is like, you know, like, we're good friends, like, I love you, but Jax thought it might be a good idea not to come. Plus also, you don't have a really good track record with the girls who I want as my bridesmaids. You know, it's just to like not cause any potential fighting. right? Which I think is like, obviously it's sad for Billy, but like fair, because you know, actually Britt had a talk with Sheena, and Sheena was like, just try to make sure that there's not going to be any fighting, because I don't know if we remember Sheena's engagement party, Tom punched Jax because that's when he found out that Jax slept with Kristen. Obviously we don't want a repeat of that. Britt was like, yeah, like Billy, I'm sorry, you can't come because I don't want any fighting to happen. Then Lisa actually goes over to Sir, and she's surprised to see Sandoval at the bar. She's like, you know, what are you doing here? Like, Schwartz is at Tom Tom. Like, why are you still here? And Sandoval is like, well, you know, my name was on the schedule, so I came in. And Lisa's like, you own a bar now, like, you should be there. But Sandoval is like, you know, I know the bar here. I like the bar here. I know the drinks and the people. Like, I feel more comfortable here. And obviously, we know that Sandoval isn't going to leave. So Lisa's like, you know what? You're fired. Come with me, let's go to Tom Tom. So they go to Tom Tom, and Lisa talks with Schwartz, and turns out that the checks for $50,000 that Schwartz wrote, I don't know why my brain bugged for that word, actually bounced. Obviously, not the best thing. Episode 19 is actually also a short one. So Lala has a performance. She does get emotional because at the beginning she opens with this song she wrote about her dad, and you know, her dad never got to see her perform, so it's sad. She doesn't cry, but she kind of like tears up. But then we switch the music, go back to her more party songs, and it's a very, very good event. Like, honestly, I really like Lala songs. We also have Raquel's puppy shower. That is so cute. After watching that, I kind of want to do a puppy shower when I get a dog. I know it's like not a common thing. So cute. The games were all puppy themed. Honestly, absolutely adorable. Lala actually opens up to the girls who she went to Mexico with about having anxiety attacks like much more often since her dad passed. And she's like, you know, I think that is caused by alcohol. So I decided I'm not gonna have a sip of alcohol like ever again in my life. Honestly, like, good for her. Like, Lala actually grew so much. At first, she was a character who I didn't really like, but she's actually really starting to grow on me. And then we remember how Schwartz's checks bounced, right? The thing that you think you would do is like, you sign a check and he would give that to Lisa. But no, Schwartz does the most Schwartzy way to like give Lisa the money. Goes to the bank with like a like a little briefcase suitcase thing, puts like bills in it, goes to Lisa and Ken in Tom Tom. They're both like super confused when he shows up with like the little suitcase thing. Then he opens it. Lisa's face is like in pure shock. Ken is like dying of laughter. It's genuinely the funniest thing ever. Like, it's not serious, but it's Tom Schwartz. Like, what were they expecting? But honestly, absolutely hilarious. And yeah, that's where the episode ends. Like, once again, very, very short episode. But now we're getting into the we're getting closer to the engagement party. Like, episode 20 was the longest episode in the season. And we actually have Britt's family who is coming to get ready for the party, as well as Jax's sister and her husband. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Sheena was kind of seeing Adam. Sheena and Adam have a conversation. So one of Sheena's friends is coming back to LA. He wants to cook her dinner. Their whole thing is that they're best friends. They're not dating. Adam, you can tell that he's like uncomfortable with this guy spending the night. And Sheena's like, we're not dating. And then Adam is like, yeah, sure. You know, like, we're not dating. I don't mind if you go on dates with guys, but I don't want you to like be with a guy. But then Sheena's like, well, you don't want me to see other people. I don't want you to see other people. Why aren't we in a relationship? And Adam's like, oh, you know, I'm not ready for it, but I don't want to share you with anyone else. And it's like, come on, seriously, like, Adam, you're what? You're probably like 30. Be so for real right now. Anyways, we have Britt, who actually goes wedding dress shopping. She's with her entire family, also with Saucy, Katie, and Kristen. And the girls talk with Britt's mom, and Britt's mom is like, you know, Jax was with us when he found out that his dad passed, and he basically said like, I want to be the man that my dad would have wanted me to be. And from there, she was like, I saw a change. He was a completely different person. I'm genuinely surprised, but Jax Taylor actually changed for the better. So while the girls are doing that, Jax and his sister go to get matching tattoos to commemorate their dad, which is so wholesome, so cute, because Jax is like, you know, I want him to like be there with me. So honestly, very, very wholesome. A little bit less wholesome. We have James, who goes over to Lisa, and he's so excited. He tells Lisa about this amazing idea he had for See You Next Tuesday. And Lisa's like, you do realize that you don't work here anymore, right? And James is like begging, breaking down, just like, he obviously really wants his job back, like begging Lisa for his job back. And then Lisa, obviously she's gonna ask, you know, have you been drinking? James literally always says the same thing. He's like, not really, but I had a couple of beers. And Lisa's like, you know, having beers is drinking, but for James, apparently it's not. But Lisa like reinstates, like, you do not work here anymore. Like, move on and do better things. Like, don't be attached to Sir. LA is full of places. You can branch out. You don't work here. You're probably never gonna work here again. And by the way, seeing how you are, please, James, for your own good, you should not have another drink in your life. Will he listen? I do not know. I have more faith in Lala than him. Sheena has her little date with this guy. While they're doing that, a few people from the gang are going out for drinks and Adam is there, right? Sheena actually sends a little something to the girls, and I think Ari is the one who's like, you know, Adam, I actually feel uncomfortable like seeing this with you like right in front of me. I think you should see this. And she shows him the video. Adam, obviously he's like not really happy that she's seeing this other guy. Sandoval is like, well, you know, okay, like, are you more uncomfortable with seeing this, or are you more uncomfortable being in a relationship with Sheena? And Adam's like, you know, I don't know, like, I don't really want to think about it. Can we like talk about something else? Clearly you don't want to see her with this other guy, but like, what is stopping you from being in a, like, that's what I do not understand. It's like, why aren't you just in a relationship? Why is it that hard? And the episode ends with Britt and the girls going out to lunch, and she announces that they're gonna be her bridesmaids. So super, super cute. Love that. The final episode of season 7, the engagement party episode, we find out that Sheena and Adam have not talked, or okay, they talk, but they're like always fighting. He's like ignoring her. There's like very clearly problems. So that's obviously not great. But yes, we're at the engagement party. Brittany's dad goes to talk to Lisa, and he tells Lisa that in LA, Lisa's basically Brittany's mom, and he shows a lot of appreciation for Lisa and how she had Brittany's back, how she was always there for Brittany. He actually asked Lisa, like, do you truly honestly think that Jack's changed? And Lisa's like, absolutely. You know, at first, Brittany's dad was like kind of iffy about Jax, but he's starting to grow on everyone. Like, again, I would have never thought that Jax would change, but honestly, like looking back, I think really having his dad pass like sparked something in him, and he changed for the better. So Sheena and Adam have not talked since that date, right? But Sheena's like, you know what, Adam, like, we need to talk, right? And they start arguing, and Sheena's like obviously pissed off because she's like, you don't want us to be like together. You cannot say that I cannot go with other people because you don't want us to be together. You have no right to be so mad. You know, it starts a fight, but they try to keep it like somewhat contained. Adam ends up walking away at the end. I don't think we're going to be seeing Adam next season. I think it's like, this is the last time we're going to see him. I don't know. We will see. But we get to the actual engagement party stuff. Lisa gives a super, super cute, wholesome speech. It's an amazing night. Brittany looks amazing. Literally fairy tale vibes. Like, the episode ends with the Toms actually getting Lisa to like chug beer through a funnel, and that's where this video ends, with Lisa chugging from a funnel. I really wish I could put a picture over here because it was actually so funny. But yeah, this is part number 3 of my unhinged breakdown of Vanderpump Rules season 6 and 7. We're almost done. We have 4, yeah, we have 8, 9, and then 10, 11. So there's 2 more parts to this series. Wow, it's gonna feel so weird when this series is done. I mean, like, not really, because once this series is done, we have Love Island UK and Love Island USA. Once that is done, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do anymore. If you guys have ideas, please let me know down below. It doesn't have to be reality TV. It can be like any show. Part of me is considering just going absolutely insane for like Riverdale, because I gave up watching it after season 3. Like, I know obviously it's like an old show now, it's in the past, and people made their videos about it, but I'm generally so curious, how the hell did they get powers? How are we time traveling? Let me know what you think, because I think that could be super, super fun. So yeah, if you liked today's video, definitely hit the subscribe button and leave a thumbs up so you are notified when I post part 4, which is episodes 8 and 9, and you can know when I do my little Love Island videos. And also, if you want to go, you know, kind of like stalk me around, my Instagram, TikTok, and Goodreads are all linked down below, so definitely go, you know, check me out over there. I desperately need water. So this is where I'm gonna say goodbye. Stay safe, protect your vibe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.